or is this just some civil rule? Did we just transition from military rule to civil rule?
I just want to be positive, at least in the early parts of this show this morning,
Yeah.
and not talk about scams and all those kinds of things. But you see, an egg is a chicken. When you lay an egg, when a chicken lays an egg, nothing is added to the egg until it becomes a full-blown chicken. So democracy is still democracy. We have things embedded in this government, this kind of government, that are democratic, even if we're not practicing them. So we will keep improving upon them, I hope, and then we get a democracy that works for us. Democracy doesn't have to be what America is practicing, what China is practicing, or anything. It has to be a government that people are involved because of the good of themselves. So that's why it's for the people, by the people, of the people, whatever it is. It's all about the people. So when we can get it right about the people, however we pass to get to that road, is good enough for us.
2 plus 2, 3 plus 1, all equals to 4.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally agree with you, because at the end of the day, it's positive outlooks. Even America that we celebrate today wasn't built, their democracy wasn't built in one day. So whatever it has come to be now, obviously it's a makeup of different years, different things that they've tried, and saying that, okay, maybe this doesn't work, maybe this works, and then they add it all up together, which has now formed a democracy that, you know, they actually celebrate today. Now, for Nigeria, I mean, you know how they say Rome was not built in a day, so it's just for us to keep trying our
Sometimes
best.
that is used by lazy people.
Well,
because I mean,
in actuality,
yes.
it's not, because at the end of the day, if it's Rome, if it's whatever, it's brick by brick. So every day you have those small steps that you celebrate, and you say, okay, we've laid this brick today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow will come again, we lay another brick.
One, yes.
And just like that, you find out that you've built a house. So it's development. Every single day, you try to develop yourself, develop your country. And I hope that Nigeria is, I know things might be a little bit tough right now, and people are like, you know, what's even with this country? This country is not moving anywhere. But we might not see those little small steps right now. It might seem like, why can't we get the whole building at the moment? Nigeria is, you know, going to be 64 this year. But there are those little victories that we don't even realize that we have. For instance, how many, if you look at the amount of people that went out to get their voters card registration last year, it was a record-breaking amount. So that is one small step to the democracy that, you know, we want to celebrate. So at the end of the day, we just need to keep, you know, pushing, never give up, and then one day.
Even though I'm very pessimistic in that regard, that maybe in 2027, a lot of people who came out in 2023 may not come out again because of what it was. Because there was a lot of promise in the 2023 election. And when we got there, we found out that most of those things, why is this word coming? The word scam. Well, be that as it may, this is not endorsing slow pace of development, because if we have the phones, for instance, we don't have to go back to town criers that we used to have, when we can just send messages on WhatsApp and everybody gets it. That's what I'm saying. So if America took 200 years to get to where they are, they have learned the lessons from which we should learn as well. We don't need to make those mistakes anymore. So we cannot wait for 200 years to become like America. China.
You learned from your predecessors.
China
anyway.
waited like 30 years. They locked up their country and then rejigged whatever it was. And in about
so that's
30
the reason why. That's the reason why you
else.
look at other people's past. You look at whatever you can learn, because sometimes the truth is, sometimes you learn from your own experiences.
Yes.
And sometimes you learn from other people's experiences. So if we're looking at democracy, you know, in the sense of it all, you can look at America, you can look at China, you can look at other ones and see which one works for you, the peculiarities of your own circumstances. And if you say this is what works, why not? We're Africans, we have our culture. And, you know, we cannot just abolish certain things and say, oh, all of a sudden we've become so Americanized, if I can use that word. So we need to find that Nigerian democracy. And then it would just be better for us
The
all.
democracy
And
that
then,
will have
and then
the
another thing,
spirit of Africa.
yeah, and another thing I want to say is, I mean, our leaders need to come out and say, yes, we're practicing true democracy and we have a heart for the people. Because what is democracy? For the people, by the people, of the people. So if you're going to say, I want to be a leader, you need to be a leader of the people. You need to have a heart of the people and a heart for your country. So if you're not as patriotic to want to move Nigeria forward, then what are you doing?
Okay, you just mentioned patriotism. Are you patriotic?
I am patriotic.
Because
I'm a patriotic Nigerian.
It starts from the individual. So
yeah.
Let's show working. Can you sing the national anthem? Not the old new one. The new old one. The new old.
What do you mean the new old?
And the old new.
Of course I can. Both stanza.
Okay, see now.
Because my mom taught me herself.
Yeah, I remember that I could sing both stanzas as well because my father translated it into the local language. So he got everybody involved at that time. So I remember it well. So thank you, parents. Now, I'm saying new old one and the old new one.
It's confusing, to be honest.
Because the new anthem has become the old and the old anthem has become the new. So that's why it's so,
yeah.
So can you sing the new old one, which is there, right?
The new, when you say the new old one, then you're confusing me.
It was new, but now it's old.
So which one are we talking about? Is it,
Arise, O compatriots.
Arise,
just one verse.
O compatriots. I'm not a great singer.
Go ahead, just go ahead.
You want to embarrass me on national TV.
I will croak as well. The old new one.
Arise, O compatriots. Nigerians call obey to serve our father's land with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and mind, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. Should I keep going?
Celine Dion has nothing on you. Celine Dion has nothing on you. That was so fantastic. Well, I'm going to miss that national
If we're now going to
I'm going to miss the positive parts of it and the negative parts of it. The negative parts of it being the way it was being murdered by a lot of people there. Arise, O compassion. I'm going to miss it so much.
Yeah.
Well, it did say a lot of things.
Why don't you sing the old one?
The old new one?
The old new one.
The old new one. Okay. So that I don't make a mistake. I'm an old man.
So you're cheating.
Am I cheating?
You have to sing it.
Okay. Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians all are proud to serve, serve our sovereign motherland. Yeah, I nearly got it wrong there. You should have let me look at it.
Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace or battle honored, and this we count as gain. To hang on to our children a banner without stain. Oh God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed. And so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed.
Okay.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, that was the
So now
second,
it's
and the third stanza
Yeah.
of the old new anthem.
So now it's making me sentimental because when you listen to the words, it's, God grant our request, help us to build our nation, tribes and tongues. I mean, it was a very beautiful anthem.
Yes, it was.
And then they had to change it, but having to change it back again is just, I like both.
Yeah, but you know,
The lyrics of both.
it shows that there are things in the past that were so good
That
that
they did not even need,
Yes.
shouldn't have been changed in the
yes,
first
so
place.
which means there are so many other things that might be in the
We need to
past that we
revisit.
need to revisit. But you see, it goes beyond just singing the words. For
Exactly.
instance, the second stanza of the new old one, the Arise, O Compatriots,
The
says,
O God of creation,
O God of creation, direct our noble cause, guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, in
great
living just and truth, great lofty heights attain, to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. Do our youths, our youths have they learned the truth? Our leaders showing that they have been guided right, because the laws are there, the Bible is there, the Quran is there, all the books that need to guide them, all the laws that need to guide them are there, but are they being guided well, or are they blaming it on a higher power that it didn't do its job? So all these words were there, and they failed to do these things that they're supposed to do. So if we still sing these words
It
and not
might
do
not
anything,
change anything.
it may not change anything.
You know, it's just even how people say it doesn't matter what type of government we practice, it's the people. So even if we sing, you know, O God of creation, Arise, O Compatriots, Nigeria, we hail thee, whatever it is, if you're still not going to be patriotic, if you're still not going to put your heart into the development of Nigeria, then nothing is going to happen.
Nothing.
So our national anthem being changed, and I think this has just been my sentiments from the beginning, our national anthem being changed from the new old one to the old new one, whatever it is, it makes no difference. At the
If the
end of
people
the
do
day,
not,
yes, it makes
really
a difference if
show
you do not
commitment.
make any significant change to the country. So as lawmakers, you can go there and say, oh, let's change the national anthem, but what are you doing for your constituents? That's a good question. If you're saying they should sing it and sing it, you know, with bass in their voice, 10 toes down, if you're still not going to empower them, if you're still not going to put the right development in place, then it changes nothing. So you can leave it the way it is. You can even decide to get a new one. But if you're saying you want to revert back to the old one, great, I'm happy for
Right, it's
you.
not a problem.
But then make sure that you are doing the right thing. Make sure that you're being guided right. Make sure you're leading the people right. Make sure you're putting all of the things, the necessary things they
Mr.
need.
President, lead us well.
Yeah.
Mr. Governor,
So you
love
hear
us
hear
well.
songs like that. Yeah, you need to be able to lead the people well, because you're not being elected into a certain position for you to just come and make another law, oh, let's revert back. No, people need to
Yeah.
get their heads above water. And that is what is important right now. Are you seeing the prices of goods and services?
If you go to X or other social media platforms, you'll see.
I'm just waiting for all the skits that are going to
Man,
come out from here now.
We've had enough already after just yesterday. And, you know, you'll see some caricatures, some cartoons and all that. And the other one was saying, there is hope. We have now reverted to the old national anthem. We are hoping that we are going to revert to the... Did you see the old pump price? let's revert. Did you see everything that was old? Can we go back there when the dollar was 180 to a dollar, when the pump price was...
I feel like as at this time, the dollar was like 1 naira to $1, or even 0 point something naira, 0.8 naira to $1. So if we're reverting back,
So
that would be
the
amazing.
good things in the past, let's bring them back. The price of the price of fuel, you know, the price of a bag of rice, a
you
bag of
understand?
gari, all of those things.
As in, my life would just be soft. All right, enough about Nigeria and the national anthem. Let's move over to some top trending story. And this one says another set of 122 stranded Nigerians evacuated from Libya. At least 122 stranded Nigerians have been evacuated from Libya. The recent evacuees comprised 52 males, 39 females, 7 of whom were rescued victims of human trafficking, 21 children, and 10 infants. This brings the total number of stranded Nigerians in Libya who have been assisted to return home in 2024 alone to 1,350. In 2023, the International Organization for Migration, IOM, assisted no fewer than 2,041 stranded Nigerian migrants to return home. The evacuation on Tuesday, May 28, conducted in collaboration with the IOM in Libya as part of its voluntary humanitarian repatriation VHR program, was the 9th carried out by the Nigerian mission in the country this year. Speaking in Tripoli, Libya, during the evacuation, Nigeria's newly posted charge d'affaires and theater to Libya, Mohammed advised Nigerians to shun irregular migrations to foreign land. Mohammed warned that most of such irregular migrations usually end up in slavery and sexual exploitations in Europe. The envoy said that migrations that follow due processes are allowed, but Nigerians are advised to always ponder well before embarking on the risk of ill-advised journey across the desert.
Yeah.
Your take?
My take is, what are you running away from Nigeria for? To go to Libya, of all places, and then you be enslaved.
No, but
and
they have the hopes of going across the border.
then go across the border legally. Go across the border with a plan. Go across the border not like a thief. Because if you enter someone's country without the requisite papers, that you are going there like a thief. And then you'll be shamed and returned home.
And
did you see the photographs there? They
Yeah.
were closing their faces. They were trying to make sure nobody sees them and recognizes them. So why would you go to a country and not come back boldly and beat your chest that I traveled out?
Yeah.
It's not enough to just say I went abroad. When you went abroad, what did you go there to do? How did you go there to this abroad you're talking about? We've seen videos of people who went as far as Canada, went to other places, and they were sleeping in tents in the winter.
Yeah.
Some of them
I
died.
think it's just even slavery. Like, you're putting yourself, and it reminds me of, the slave trade, how they said some people, volunteered themselves to be taken abroad because they felt like Nigeria wasn't good enough. And then in the hopes of, moving over to where the grass is greener, you don't want a situation whereby you're now a slave or you're being, used. Some ladies are being used for human trafficking. Why? When you can just stay in your country, if you really, really need to move, you save up and then move. But then you're moving with a plan, like you said. You probably have a job, or you know what you want to do there. You have some friends, families, communities that would help you. Not that you're moving and going across the desert.
I mean, taking small boats and getting drowned in the... It's just ridiculous. Well, but I don't know. ISAP terrorists killed 15 fishermen in Borno State. Now it's no longer news that people are being killed on a daily basis. I do hope that we're going to do something more about our security situation in Nigeria. It's not just celebrating Silver Jubilee or whatever Jubilee. As a democratic state, we should be able to secure our people and their properties. That's the whole thing about governance. If that is not done, then it's not a democracy. It's not even a government of any sort. May all the people who have lost their lives and the people who are victims of all these kinds of things find solace in a higher power, because I don't know if your country cannot give you that. At least you'll go back to God. We say there is God, we say God be, as we would say in Nigeria. So I don't know, this keeps happening. I do hope that there will be an end to it, as now the president is saying that he's doing a lot. He's walking the talk. The talk, one of them was security of lives and property. And that just also goes to that the fact that federal government has withdrawn terrorism charges against Mayati Allah head. They took him to prison, as it were. They charged him with a lot of things, and now they just came out and let him go. What did they not do investigations into the matter?
Well, I think let's just take the story. So the story says a federal high court sitting in Abuja on Wednesday discharged the president of Miyetti Allah Kota Kore Alhaji Bello Bodejo of an alleged terrorism charge filed against him by the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation. Bodejo was arrested on the allegations of raising an armed militia to the detriment of the nation's unity. The Miyetti Allah leader, who was arrested on January 23 in Malia, Nasarawa State, and kept in the custody of the Defense Intelligence Agency, was arraigned on March 22 in a charge. And although he was arraigned on a 3-count charge bordering on terrorism, he pleaded not guilty, and the court ordered his remand in the DIS facility pending the hearing and determination of the case. Now, Justice Iyank Ekwo, in a short ruling, discharged Bodejo after the counsel for the AGF, Aderonke Imana, moved an oral application for the withdrawal of the 3-count charge. Upon resuming the hearing, Imana informed the court that she had an oral application. The lawyer said the application was according to Section 108 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015. She said the request was further predicated on the power of the AGF under Section 174 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. In quote, she said, consequently, the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation has instructed me to withdraw this charge against the defendant in the interest of justice. That is our humble application, my lord, she said. So how do you go and go?
On what grounds? They didn't even explain to us why they had to discharge him. Have they found new evidence to show that he didn't do those things and all that?
Why, because I mean, he did not plead guilty.
Why just hold somebody for that long, even if it is 3 days, without having concrete evidence? You know, you just wake up one morning and discharge him. People should be held accountable for their actions.
That's right.
Is it not also covered by law that when the authorities make a mistake, they should pay a sort of compensation
to the person
because
involved?
We've seen you have damaged the reputation of that person. You have
the time wasted.
If the person has medical issues,
Mm-hmm.
you have kept him there, and the thing will get worse.
The trauma,
everything, and then you just wake up one day and say, it's not.
You know, when you come out into the society, people just look at you. You're being stigmatized because now there's always going to be that case of it may be true, maybe it's not true. Do you understand? They start to look at you funny. So
it's not good.
I think our justice system definitely needs to do more.
That's what happened to the former CBN governor. They said he was having arms and all that, hold him for a long time, and then just come out and say, well, that one is no longer holding water. We are not doing that anymore.
We need to do more, especially when it comes to
every day they keep
and all.
finding money attached to him.
And people are coming out to say, I was this and this was what happened. Let's not even go in there. All right, we'll go on a short break. We'll look at the weather. When we return, we'll be reviewing the papers. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. It's time to take stories making headlines in our national dailies. And joining us to review the papers this morning is Comrade Mark Adebayo, as a national spokesperson in Coalition of United Political Parties, CUPP. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Plus TV Africa. Good morning, viewers.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining.
We hail thee, sir. Like Nigeria,
the way we just say Nigeria, we hail thee. All right, we'll be starting with the Vanguard this morning. Okay. So we'll be starting with the Vanguard this morning.
I was about responding to the Nigeria, we hail thee.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. So we're starting
it's more of Nigeria, we fail thee.
Oh, that's deep.
That's deep. That's a very strong word, sir. We'll keep hailing Nigeria, and that's just us being patriotic. Okay, let's get straight into the papers before we start to have a different conversation. So this morning we'll be starting with the Vanguard, and the Vanguard leads with 1 year in office, my government walking the talk, and that is being said by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And the writers here says, Nigerians for 25 years of unbroken democracy, says we must build a nation for generations unborn. Flags of recitation of new national anthem, Nigeria We Hail Thee, to forward 2024 supplementary appropriation bill soon, and NAS expecting your appropriation bill, Akpabio tells Tinubu. Now, we know that yesterday made President Tinubu 1 year in office, May 29. And then if you look at the past 1 year, because he's saying is, you know, they're walking the talk, the past 1 year has had a lot, you know, that we've had to take in, or a lot of sacrifices that they've termed as some bold moves. One of which is fuel subsidy being gone. In fact, it's a year and 1 day today when they say fuel subsidy is gone. Another one is, talking about electricity tariff. Another one was a cybersecurity levy that they tried to introduce. So there's some bold moves, audacious moves. I don't even think I should say bold moves anymore. Audacious moves that the president had to take, and that Nigerians had to just swallow in the guise of having to sacrifice for a better tomorrow. Now, if we were to look at that 1 year in office, and with the president coming out to say, we're walking the talk, would you agree that truly we're walking the talk in this 1 year? I know certain sacrifices need to be made, if we want a better Nigeria, but do you think those sacrifices are, they've been good enough for the better tomorrow that we're looking at? Or do you think that there was a better way we could have even gone through all of that and still achieve the same result? So is President Tinubu's administration walking the talk in 1 year of being president?
Let me start by saying that when we say the government or the president is taking audacious steps, it's more of daring Nigerians. It's not about taking audacious steps. Audacious steps in whose interest? Audacious steps in what area of development can we point at? If you take audacious steps, the audacious step will be that cutting down the size of government, probably down to 20 ministers, cutting down the long convoys of the president and governors and everybody, cutting down salaries and allowances of the president, ministers, governors, and the rest of that. That is when we will see audacious steps, not the fact that you say Nigerians will continue to sacrifice while the government is having over-bloated stomachs, over-bloated budgets, and allowances. These ones we have seen, Nigerians are being asked to tighten their belt, we have been tightening it since 1960. To date, they will say suffer today, enjoy tomorrow. There is no Eldorado anywhere. This crop of leaders are not taking us anywhere that is going to benefit Nigeria, that is going to benefit Nigerians. The other time when we were talking about our old, national anthem, Nigeria, we hailed it. I was trying to correct the fact that, look, Nigeria, we failed it. And when I say that, I mean that our leaders have failed Nigeria. Nigeria has not failed us as a people. Nigeria has given us oil, Nigeria has given us water, Nigeria has given us wonderful weather all year round, Nigeria has given us good soil for agriculture and everything, Nigeria has given us everything that we need, Nigeria has given us gold, bauxite, and every other natural resources that we need. Nigeria has given us humongous human resources. All these that has given to us, our leaders have failed in using and implementing for our own interest and for the national progress of Nigeria. That is why we say, Nigeria, we failed it. Nigerian leaders have failed Nigeria. So there is no audacious step in the area where there's insecurity. In this Abuja, the activities of one chance criminals has increased from like 30% during Buhari to like 75% now. Kidnapping on daylight kidnapping right inside Abuja, at the center of Abuja, not in the suburbs. These things are happening in the area of security. The government has failed. In the area of the economy, the government has 33.5% inflation rate. We are in the area of, look at the Nigerian currency. The Benin Republic currency now is stronger than our naira. That was when I was growing up in the 70s. If you took 1 naira and entered the Republic of Benin, you will see what we are going to buy. Not that they respected the naira then, they worshipped the naira. Anywhere, in Africa, they worship the naira. The naira to the dollar was, less than 1 naira was to $1, about 70-something naira to about 7. Less than 1 naira to the dollar in the 70s, even in the 80s. The day Sagari came and began to go, that was when we began to experience all these things. What we are saying is that the audacious steps have not been, the audacious actions have more been on the side of punitive policies of government to inflict more pain, hunger on Nigerians, not in a way that is beneficial to Nigerians or to Nigeria. That is it. Today, if the president announces that, look, he's cutting down salaries and allowances of government officials, especially at the federal level, by, say, 50 or 60%, that is an audacious step. But if the government says, look, we will ensure that salaries and allowances of workers are increased and the rest of that, minimum of 250,000 naira for minimum wage will have been something like we call audacious step. Audacious step in what step? That the naira is collapsing, we have 1,500 around 1,500, 1,600, fluctuating like that. We don't have a stable currency, we don't have a stable economy. Our security is down there. And then somebody tells me he's taking the audacious step. In whose interest? In whose interest are we taking all these audacious steps? Yeah, there's more. The cost of living is far higher today than it was last year.
Yes.
From the first minute of the president's inauguration, for the first 60 minutes, fuel prices increased by 600%. Within 1 minute of President Tinubu's inauguration, the economy, everything went into crisis. To date, we are yet to recover from that. So he should take audacious steps to reverse these negative trends, to support Nigerians, to cushion the effect of the insensate, subsidy removal that was totally unnecessary. So those will be let him crash the fuel pump prices of fuel to just, in fact, by half, like say 300 naira. Today, you see what Nigerians are going to start celebrating that we have taken audacious steps. But the steps that have taken, the neoliberal policies of this government so far, have only benefited the rich and the powerful and those who are in government. But the man on the street, the masses, the Nigerians ourselves, food has been taken off the tables of millions of Nigerians. We should not deceive ourselves. We should expect the government to score itself high in the face of overwhelming evidence of failure. They will continue to score themselves high. But for us as Nigerians, for us as a people, for us as patriots, we must not deceive ourselves. We must be able to say that now, bread that used to sell for 200 naira is now 900 naira. That a cup of rice that used to sell for 300 naira is now 1,200 naira. That, we should be able to say that Gary, the best friend of the common man, the best friend of the common man, has started alienating the common man, even from himself. Gary is no longer for the common man.
So there were two things you said that I'd like to just highlight here. Okay, so there are two things, listening to you, there are two things you said that I'd like to just highlight here, which is the president assuming office, things have just, there's been a cascade of so many policies and why things have been really expensive. But this same government will tell you that they inherited this government, from the past administration. And so that's the reason why we're here, that other presidents have probably made wrong moves, which has now led to where we are today. The second one is talking about fuel subsidy. If fuel subsidy was able to come down, in Nigeria, if, for instance, a price goes up, do things really come down? So even if we have fuel subsidy, because obviously right now there's still a quasi-subsidy, I don't think we're paying for the actual amount, especially when you see that dollar is rising, and then the pump price is still the same. So there's still a quasi-subsidy. But if the president was to come out boldly and say, yes, we're subsidizing this and maybe bringing it down to about 300 naira, like you've said, do you think that would affect the prices of goods and services in Nigeria? Or Nigerians would just say, this is where we are, this is the price we want to label on our goods, and that's it?
Well, the line was breaking very badly, but I was able to, get some of the things that you said. But the first thing I want to say is that, when are we going to stop this cycle of blame game? Blame the last government. Buhari blamed Jonathan for 8 years, for his own non-performance, for his own failure. Buhari blamed Jonathan for 8 years. The last 8 years was of APC. This is an APC government, so they want to start blaming their own APC government for the next 4 years or 3 years or whatever, and God forbid for another 7 years. No, did the president run for presidency on the premise of the performance of the last government? You are not going to score your government on the scorecard of the last government. You have to write your own exam, you have to fail your own exam, or you pass it. You don't blame the last government, because it is assumed that before you go into presidency, before you run for president, before you run for office, you understand the challenges, you understand the problems, you have the solutions to all these challenges before you say you want to run for presidency. We all know that the Buhari government was a disaster. We are only hoping that this one will not even be more disastrous. So you cannot say they inherited this, they inherited that. You knew you were coming to inherit something. You knew it. When you go to the market to buy a rickety car, an old car, Nigerian, you overused car, you know all the problems are going to be there. You must be able to have the capacity to fix the problem before you go to the market to buy it. You don't come to tell us after running for presidency and saying us that you are going to give us renewed hope. Now you are ruining the hope. You are destroying the hope. And then you are telling us that you said this. Didn't you know? Didn't you do your own work to understand that you are going to inherit all these problems before you came into office?
Well,
we cannot continue to engage in this cycle of blame.
They have said they are doing a lot of things.
In fact, on the day independence, he has asked Nigerians to work together to build the nation. Says no amount of aid from abroad can help Nigeria. So we're asked to still tighten our belts even more. So guess what? You still have to sacrifice a lot more. I feel like I'm sacrificing a lot already. But
they said they're going to give palliatives. They're going to continue the
75,000 naira.
So I don't know whether it will reach you. I'm expecting.
I don't know, man.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
That one is an audio promise. Wow. You are not going to see the future. You are not going to see the future, and don't think nobody should go and rest taking that palliative. They have been promising palliative for 1 year. Nobody has got anything. They said they'll bring CNG, they will do this and that. Look, we should never predicate our expectations on the promises of any politician, whether the president or governor or whatever. You need to go near these people and see whether they are tightening any belt or anything. You can see them, they are getting bigger, their stomachs are getting fatter. They don't really understand what Nigerians are passing through. These people are too far. They are disconnected from Nigerians. They are disconnected from the streets. You only see them on the streets during the time of campaign. They are coming back in 3 years. That is when we should punish them for their misdeeds and bad governance they are giving us. So they will do this, they will release 20-something billion. If you say they should not take foreign aid, what is the local aid that you have for them? What is the internal aid that you have for them? What is the internal support that we have from our government? What are they doing to make sure that prices of food to be affordable to the common man? What are they doing to ensure that the children of the common people, the regular Nigerians, are able to go to school? What are they? You know how many out of school children now? Immediately there was all of us who have children in private schools and the rest of that, even in government schools, even the federal government increased tuition in federal government schools. That was why last year students of University of Lagos were protesting. And what did they do? They sent police after them to begin to shoot tear gas and gun at them. You understand? So all you talk of private institutions. What is the government? This government, I've said it before, if you want to do palliative, nobody is asking for cash out, because the 75,000 naira will go into billions of naira into the pockets of politicians and people who are asked to implement that policy, that was discovered. That Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs is not humanitarian at all. It's not humane. So a lot of, if they now begin to probe what happened in that humanitarian ministry under Buhari, oh my goodness, it will be a terrible scandal, almost at the level of Emefiele. You understand? So look at the new word that just came in, that was fired, that was suspended. You know, they say it's a humanitarian affairs ministry, but it's so many inhumane personnel are running that place. So they should not go into cash out 75,000 to anybody, because it's not going to get to the people that really need the money. It's not going to get to them. What you need to do is to cut tuition fees in schools by half. By half. Tell parents not to pay for school for the next 2-3 years. That is direct palliative. You know, that is direct palliative. Once you take care of our children's education, you take care of especially the education, then you take care of health. Let us give Nigerians moratorium, go to any public health institution and get free medical services. That is direct palliative. Tell Nigerians that, okay, from now, okay, we are going to pay the WAEC fees for the next 2-3 years. That is direct palliative. Okay, you tell Nigerians that, okay, from now on, we are cutting tuition fees by half. Even the private institution will be forced to follow suit, including the crazy ones that are charging dollars in Nigeria. These are the kind of schools and proprietors that EFCC should go after. They are committing economic crime by charging dollars. When Naira is our legal tender in our own country, you have to look for dollars to pay for your children's school. It is criminal, it is inhumane, it is antisocial and anti-people and absolutely unpatriotic. Whoever is doing that should not be treated as a Nigerian. Is more of a foreigner than a Nigerian. and is an economic criminal, charging dollars and pounds in Nigeria for tuition. Why now? Why? Are we going to say that education is no longer for the poor? Like they said, like the Nigerian politicians are wont to say. Sometimes they say communication, even phone, handset is not for the common man. Traveling is all, aeroplane is not for the common man. So everything will just go to rich people. And the way this country is being run, sincerely, I just hope that the government and the people in power will not provoke a situation that they will not be able to contain. That is just it. But the beauty of democracy is that you have 4 years to make another choice, and I think we should get it right the next time. We should get it right. That is it. Well, if there will be a revolution in Nigeria, it has to be political revolution. It has to be democratic revolution in a way that we produce something akin to that of Senegal, looking for a very young person without any ego, without any attachment to the appointments of offices, but to sit up and do the duty. I pray and hope that young man in Senegal will be successful, so that we have a reference point. Look at Nigeria today. You may say the governors are this and that, but you cannot say the same negative and pejorative expressions that we use to describe Nigerian governors with Alex Otti of Abia. Alex Otti of Abia is transforming a state that was backward, that was retrogressive, is transforming the state in the area of power, in the area of roads, in the area of education, in the area of taking governance and the benefits of democracy to the grassroots, to the people. That's why you can see him. He doesn't have to go around with a retinue of soldiers and policemen. He is free among his people. He is doing the work. That is the man that we can say is walking the talk, not the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that has put us in terrible economic situation that a lot of people cannot afford. The cost of living in Nigeria today has skyrocketed by over 500% in the last 1 year. So you cannot say you are walking the talk. You say you want to renew our hope. We believed you. Some of us in the opposition believed the president. We believe at least that he was more politically educated, he was more politically exposed, experienced, and as an accountant, has an understanding of the economic nitty-gritty of governance, and that he was coming to perform far better than Baba Go Slow. Now we have moved from Baba Go Slow under Buhari to Baba Do Nothing. I mean, everything is just like Vela would say, we are speeding backwards. So if they are walking backwards. They said they will hit the ground running. Yes, you can see. The president in the last 1 year hit the ground and has been running backward, running in the wrong directions. It must begin to run in the right. We should not come here and begin to patronize the government that has not done so well. Do you know how many jobs have been lost in the go and see the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. How many jobs have been lost? How many businesses have collapsed in the last 1 year? Just because of one.
The CBN just sacked 600. The CBN just sacked 600 staff just now. The CBN of all institutions sacked 600 staff.
Well, I'm wondering when they can do that, and how come the government is not trying to cut their own costs, and we still have a bloated cabinet. So if they're taking jobs from people, then why are you employing so many people just to take jobs from others?
But I don't know. Maybe CUPP has a solution.
One minister we have 300 personal assistants. We have private assistants. They will have 20 executive assistants, personal assistants, general assistants, all manner of assistants, criminal assistants, all over the place. And then you are telling people, look, that's one. I don't want to mention names, but there's one hotel in Lagos that is firing more than about 75% of his staff this week. Their letters are ready. This is not speculation. I don't want to mention names, but I'm sure your station will get the news and will be part of the people that are going to break the news. You understand? And then I'm looking at those workers. Some of them have been there for 20 years. Some of them have been there for 25 years. Some of them are young people who just joined the workforce in less than 6 months ago. Now, they say, well, you are firing 75 to 80% of your workforce. What do you think is going to happen to those people? What job are they going to get? And then the experience they have built over the years to keep that hotel running and keeping the tradition of excellence is going to collapse. And it's not only that, that's just one example. People are losing jobs. Businesses are collapsing because people can no longer, a lot of people that can no longer access the dollar, who can no longer afford the dollar, their businesses are collapsing.
Even eateries have shut down. Eateries lose over 5 billion naira in the last 1 year, eateries are shutting down. So even food, people are not even able to go to eateries and buy food like they would. I was out yesterday,
and
and
you see
someone I went out
the
with.
Nigerians see them as billionaires.
Yeah, I was out for a drink yesterday,
Pardon?
and you know, the other person was saying, why is everywhere empty? Like, people are not coming to, you know, restaurants or lounges anymore because they cannot afford it. So everyone is cooking at home. And even cooking at home, you don't even have enough money to buy 3 square meals.
To buy gas. You know how much gas, how much, you know, today now, you know, have you noticed something? Have you noticed a trend that now you are seeing more men going to buy things by themselves in the market nowadays because they think that their wives are cheating them. They say, how can gas people like this go and buy gas by themselves? They are going to market to buy gas by themselves. They are going to market to buy oil. You will see that in the number, when you go to the market now, you see that what are men doing in the market, buying things when they are coming from work. Hello, we'll send money for oil. You say, I'll buy it when I'm coming from work. I want to buy rice. The rice has been, I'll buy when I'm coming from work. Because suddenly men began to suspect their wives. Maybe I don't have that kind of tradition. I'm not used to the marketplace. It's not, I don't care how much you buy it. I just pray that God will continue to provide for me, to provide for my family and yours too. Now, the reality on ground is that the government must be sincere with us.
Yeah.
And something that is funny that I know is that that this president Tinubu, that he can fix these situations. This guy has the capacity to fix the economy. He has the capacity to fix the security. He has the capacity to fix all the social crises. But the problem he's having is that he doesn't have the political will to do all these things. And one of the reasons is that probably because he's playing to the gallery of some international, conglomerates, who are, now asking him to implement neoliberal policies that is anti-Nigeria, but is favorable to the global financial conglomerates. And by the time he finishes his presidency, he should know that the people that are going to judge him, the people that are going to assess him, the people that are going to rate him, are not the Americans, are not the Britons, are not the French. It's still going to be Nigerians. It is now left for him to decide whether to cast his name in stone, in gold, or on the sand of history that will be blown away by the wind. I wish him the best of luck, but more importantly, I wish Nigeria the best. And I believe one day this potentially great giant of Africa one day shall rise and walk and soar. And all of us will be proud to be Nigerians. Our green passport shall be.
This is not a headline. This is not a headline, sir. I'm just wondering, as we are wrapping up in a bit, the CUPP is not necessarily an opposition political party. It's a coalition of all the political parties. Now, you were raising some concerns and saying, hoping that Nigeria will get to a place where we don't have to complain about a lot of these things. But how do we get there? When the National Assembly seems to just be working for the president. In fact, virtually all of them wear the signature cap of the president, showing that they are loyal and they will continue to be loyal. Someone who raised an alarm in the National Assembly was suspended for 3 months. Even the opposition party didn't say much about it, and he's just being pardoned and brought back right now. The supplementary budget is going to be sent to the National Assembly, and everything is just, okay, Mr. President, you're doing well. And one of the riders of this question we were asking was that the National Assembly is saying that they are so satisfied with the performance of the president. So if the National Assembly that should critique the president and his government is saying they are satisfied, then what do you think can be done by the people who are not National Assembly, who are not the presidency, who are not people in government right now, with the experience of CUPP and the vision of CUPP? What can you tell Nigerians?
Well, when you have a rubber stamp National Assembly, and these are supposed to be the representatives of the people. I told you the other time that these people are disconnected from the realities of the suffering of the people. They are not really, there is that disconnect, that's mass disconnect from the realities, from the suffering on the people, from the experiences of the people. So they are not really representatives of the people. When you hear representatives of the people who have been kidnapped, who are hungry, who don't have food on their tables, whose children are out of school, whose children are losing their jobs and the rest of that, saying kudos to the president, you are doing well, you are doing well. You can see, it shows that Nigeria is a captured nation. And it's quite unfortunate. I think what we need to do as an opposition coalition, and for the human rights community is for us to protest more, to call out powers that be on what they are not doing right. I think we need to be more aware to our responsibilities in the area of our opposition activism, to put this government on its foot, to work for the betterment of the people. There is a big square there at the National Assembly where you have this African salute arm surrounded by, the sign of justice. That area is carved out for Nigerians to go there and protest and make their intentions known to our representatives. I think we should take full advantage of our democratic rights to begin to let these people know that they are no longer representing the interests of the people that elected them to go to the National Assembly. You cannot be telling this government that is doing well, thereby encouraging it to be performing worse than it is, and expect that your people will welcome you back home. I remember, I think 2020, was it 2019 or 2020, when one honorable went back to his constituency and he was told his jeep was, because he didn't go back there for a long time, he abandoned them, and then he went there, these people began to stone him, and he had to run for his life. He was lucky to escape with his life. His house was burned down and everything. Well, I hope that this situation will not bring out the beast in Nigeria. I just hope that the best thing for people to do is that there's another opportunity in 3 years. We should get it right at that time. That is why I'm talking about political revolution, not necessarily crisis revolution, because when you engage in crisis revolution, mob action and everything, at the end of the day, it is the ruling clique that will take over our government, and the people generally will lose. Anywhere in this area that have been revolution, it is still the ruling clique that will come over and take over the governance. And if you look at the Tunisian experience of the Arab Spring, there's nowhere in the Arab world that the masses succeeded in taking over government. It's still this same class of people that went back there. So I don't believe in all this mob action, all this crisis, let us burn down everything. No.
Well,
let us engage in intelligent democratic political revolution, whereby this crop of leaders are thrown away by the ballot, and then we get the right people into government. That is when we can get things right in this country. Well, we get the right people into government, and we get every other thing right.
Yeah.
That is it.
We hope that, they start to do what's right now, because you said we can have another chance in 3 years. 3 years is a long time. So let's just hope and pray. And, we're talking, when we keep having these conversations that they hear of, hopefully it starts to sink in, and they know that they need to do right by Nigerians and just do better in general, because at the end of the day, everyone wants what is better for Nigeria, because this is the country that we have. We don't have anywhere else we're going to. So we hope that, they start to do the right walk. When they're, walking the talk, it should be a good walk and a good talk. But this is where we have to wrap it up on this segment. Thank you so much, sir, for coming to review the papers with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, PlusTV Africa. You are doing well. See you sometimes much later.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we've been speaking with Comrade Mark Adebayo. He's a national spokesperson, Coalition of United Political Parties, CUPP, and we've just been reviewing the papers. We'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll be looking at our first hot topic. Please stay with us.
We're glad to know you're still there. Right now, President Bola Tinubu confirmed Nigeria We Hail Thee as the country's latest national anthem when he joined a joint sitting of the National Assembly to mark the Silver Jubilee of Nigeria's Fourth Republic. Our guest to talk about this reintroduction of the anthem, which was there from the inception or from independence and was later jettisoned in 1978 in favor of the Arise O Compatriot, a different national anthem composed by a Nigerian who eventually was in the US anyway, is Mr. Gbolahan Olojede, a public affairs analyst. Good morning and welcome to the program, Mr. Olojede.
Good morning. Nice to be on the program.
Good morning.
Do you need to learn the old new national anthem, or you already know
That's
it?
okay.
I'm just loving it, just calling it old new.
Old, new, new,
Yes,
old.
because it was old, now it is new. So do you need to learn it? Let's just start there, or you know it already.
Interestingly, I sang that anthem in my primary school, both the Yoruba and English versions.
Oh, wow.
So
While
you're just going back to
Back in time.
Yes.
Reminiscing.
Back in time.
I'm not,
Yes.
I don't have to relearn it. I know it's already. I can still sing even the Yoruba version as I sing.
Okay,
You know,
maybe there
but-
will be time for that.
Yeah.
But now, generally, there have been divergent opinions about the return to the old national anthem. We've seen figures like Obi Ezekwesili saying that she will never sing it. We've seen people like Reno Omokari saying that it was very unnecessary, they are against it. And so many other notable people have said that it was very, very unnecessary. But what do you think about it? It seems to have a sentimental value to the people who advocated that it comes back, and the people who feel or felt that it shouldn't have come back also have sentimental value attached to the one that is being jettisoned now in favor of the old anthem. Where do you stand?
I think it looks to me like one of those distractions to calm the populace down. It had an effect among a segment of the society, people who connected with it probably because they were old enough to know when the song was around and they associated with it. So they had an emotional connection with it. I also have a bit of that because I sang that anthem.
I did
But I'm also not unaware that some of the words that were used in that anthem were derogatory colonial words. Although these words might have now been absorbed into common usage, but it doesn't remove their tainted past. When an Oyibo man calls you a tribe or native, you can check out the people an Australian call Native Australian, or the people Americans call Native Americans or Native Alaskan, or the people, the Canadian call the Native Canadians or the tribe in Canada. You will easily see the derogatory edge to the use of those two words, native and tribe. And it is also not surprising that they featured in that anthem because the anthem was composed by an Oyibo person. So if we look at the season when that anthem was composed and the use of those words in those seasons, we might probably not be giving life to an anthem such as the old anthem, especially because of those derogatory words. I mean, that is apart from the fact that I think you can actually wonder whether the words are the issues on the table right now, and whether that is enough to inspire, but whether change of anthem is enough to inspire a hungry man and all the other problems that are on the table. But even in the context of the drafting of that anthem in itself, those two words are derogatory, they are tainted in their use in the season in which that anthem was composed. And the fact that they have become of general usage today does not take away that taint, in my personal opinion.
Okay. Well, but I don't know. These words are the same words. if you talk about the history of it, well, in the context it was used at that time, I wouldn't know. I was just singing it as well. I was around anyway when it came. I was already around. So now, if you say in the context it was composed at that time, it was derogatory. But these are words that we have seen in our polity right now being used. Tribal sentiments. We've been talking about tribal sentiments, what the politicians are now using to divide us and all that, ethnicity, religion, and all that. And we've been talking about being oppressed. These are some of the words that are in that anthem. Do you think these words have still not evolved in such a way that we shouldn't think more about what it used to be and concentrate on what it is now?
As it is today, despite the fact that it has been absorbed into common usage, a Caucasian, European, or American will never call a fellow Caucasian tribe or native. They will never use it on themselves. Never. So, and when you call up those usage that I spoke about, if you say native Australian, image, just do a Google, or native Canadian, image, Native American, image, Native Alaskan, image. When the images pop up, you will understand the derogatory edge to the use of those words. Like I said, they might have been absorbed into common usage today, but they don't, that does not take away the taint of those words. I don't think we should be giving those words life in our anthem. Excuse me.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So I
But
know.
here we are, though. We already have it's signed into law. It's an anthem. So.
Well,
Okay. So I know that the old one was being composed by Lillian Jean Williams, who's a Caucasian, and then we now changed it to Arise a Compatriots, which is composed by Pao Diase, Benedicto Diase, who was, in the Nigerian force. Now, moving back, because there's always that thing of colonialism that, why are we going back in time to something that was being composed, was composed for us, but not by us. The reason why some people are even sentimental with this is because it's something that was composed by a fellow Nigerian, for Nigerian. So why are we going back to our slave masters and what they composed for us?
I don't know. Like I said, I think maybe we were just trying to, the government was trying to look for something that could, connect to a segment of the society in terms of emotion. And to be honest with you, a lot of people who sang, who are part of that anthem, actually got emotionally connected. And maybe it make them have some nostalgia, and they felt a bit, happier yesterday when it was passed into law. So it achieved that purpose. But in the larger context, I would rather take an anthem composed by a Nigerian than that composed by a colonialist. Then if I think there's a need for review of the anthem, we were told we're a country of 200 million people. We can get brand new or revised anthem rather than go back to a 1960 anthem provided by the colonial. The words that were exciting us, though tribe and tongue may differ, yes, but like I think someone mentioned tribal sentiment. You're never going to hear that word used in Europe, except they are referring to an old, ancient set of people who used to live somewhere. That is the context in which the Caucasian will use tribe.
but they don't have what we have in Nigeria. They will never say tribal sentiments because they don't have it. Nobody goes to election and says that this is our turn. Nobody says it should go to the north, it should go to the south. Or they don't have those kind of sentiments, so the words will not arise. Is that not fair that in a country where those words and those actions arise, if you use those words, it will sit with the people, it will resonate with the people more?
So why should the people now accept that? That in your country, we know that you guys are tribes, and this is how you behave. and then we take that notion and formalize it in an anthem to be singing it on daily basis and on page. It doesn't. Anyway, it is a law.
I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
because it's almost like you're putting it in there in the face, like reminding
endorsing it.
everyone,
Yeah.
yes, that we're not the same. Meanwhile, you know, in the new anthem, or the current anthem before the old one now becomes the new one, you know, it says, "Arise, O compatriots, Nigerians." It makes them understand that, you know, it's not about your tribe, it's not about what you speak, it's not about your, you know, political inclination, it's not about your religion, it is you being a Nigerian. So I understand that, and I think that, you know, this whole thing, it's funny to me in the sense that, you know, it's just some smokescreen thing to spark up social conversations. Because now the conversation is going from, oh, you know, I sang this when I was much younger, the same way I'm going to saying it now.
Yeah,
you know,
I
to
did.
people saying, in my own generation, I sang "Arise, O compatriots," and I think I'm okay with that, or I'm not okay with this kind of words. Like you are saying right now, I'm not okay with this kind of words in here. I'd rather have this other words here. So it's just making everybody, because right now there's a divergence with everybody. One person wants one thing or another, which now leads to my question. Is this what we're supposed to be talking about right now in Nigeria? Knowing fully well that there's so many things we're going through as a nation. Our economy is dwindling. So are we supposed to be talking about reverting from one national anthem to the other? Or we're supposed to be talking about how to grow our economy in a more sustainable way?
Maybe this is just a trigger.
No, but because for me, I find it weird that there's so many things to do, so many infrastructures to put in place, so many policies, healthcare, education, so many things that you can decide to look into. Are we supposed to be looking at a national anthem? And what difference is that going to make? Even if we sing "Arise, O compatriots," or we sing "Nigeria, we hail thee," is there going to be any difference in, you know, the Nigeria that we see today? Are the politicians going to say, yes, because we're singing this old anthem, that means we're going to, you know, develop the country? That means there will be no corruption anymore? That means
down.
no. I'm asking my question.
Just let him answer. Just calm
So
down.
those are my questions. Is anything going to change?
Well, as long as it is just about the words, it will not make any difference. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't know the words anyway. The actions are more important to inspire. Actions of leaders, actions of government and leadership at all levels. There are leadership of us actually at several levels. Those actions, they speak much better, much stronger. They convey messages much stronger than the words of an anthem. That right there is the reality.
Exactly.
Well, it doesn't take away the fact that government probably achieved, you know, some connection with a segment of the society by virtue of what it did with that national anthem. So if we fix the country first, we can inspire people into further heights or onto further heights with our anthem. But as it is right now, I'm not so sure how much we can inspire a hungry man with the change anthem.
Okay, are you up for, it's a simple question. Don't laugh, Bruma. Are you up for canonization of the anthem? I mean, what is happening in Kano is that there was a law that now multiplied the Emirates, and then now it has been reverted or reversed. We have the Sanusi now, and then there are very divergent judgments that are going on. Will you be up for this law, maybe in the future, being reverted yet again, that we go back to the, I don't know whether I would call it the new anthem, the Arise, O compatriots? If
Of course, it could be reverted, but to me, it is not as important as actually getting into the space of doing and begin to impact the people. So when we talk about tribe and tongue differ, in brotherhood we stand, let us see it in action. It is in the space of action that people get the message more strongly than in the words. If you're saying it in the words, but the action is totally different, it doesn't make sense. They will not argue it with you. They just don't believe what you're singing in the anthem. As simple as that. So whether you revert it or not, it doesn't matter. I would rather want to see action, these words being put into action. And the action is what will give life, is what will inspire people to embrace the anthem. Whether this one, the old new one, or another one that is to come.
Okay, my question now is, I am hoping that this is just a trigger to greater things, better things, reforms that we are looking for in our country. But if these reforms have to come with the words of this anthem guiding us, where do you think we need to start from, and where do we need to go to? What are some of these things that you think the government and whoever is is a stakeholder, whoever is in charge of this, what are some of the things that you think should be addressed so that we can achieve what the words of this anthem are telling us?
Okay, I believe we need to go back to issues of taking power, devolving power right down to the government that is closer to the people, which is the local government. So in that place, we will start to recognize the fact that there is nothing wrong with our differences, and that we can recognize those differences for what they are and build our societies from the various components as they were or as they are today, rather than a government that is highly centralized and someone who sits in Aso Rock is also made to have responsibility for the primary healthcare center in my village. So issues of devolving power, I would like to see more of that. Recognizing governments, various governments, acting out the issue of though tribes and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. You create a state today, and people who have been in the same state before are saying, oh, you are no longer in my state, therefore you are fired from work, go back to where you came from. Or your husband, you are married to a husband from another state, therefore you cannot get the promotion to be chief judge of this state. So all those things are things that require that we start to act them out, especially at the level of leadership. When people see what leadership is doing, it has a way of influencing how they align.
Okay, well, we do hope that it will get to that point. Nigeria cannot survive and flourish if we are not looking at ourselves as brothers and sisters. Okay, but the present government might argue.
By the way, why is it only brothers and not sisters in the answer? Is it?
Don't start that, Mr. Olojede. Don't start that conversation now, please. Don't start it. Don't even start it. Okay, now, but the government will argue that what you just said is something that already started. In fact, there is a matter in court right now where the 36 governors or the 36 states have been taken to court to allow the local governments to breathe. Like, let them survive, let them function as the third tier of government. So maybe they are working in the right direction. Can you give them that, at least?
Maybe. I'm not a lawyer, and the fact that it's already in court, I'm careful what I can say. It looks to me like it's a constitutional matter. Yeah. It was part of what the constitutional committee, the last one we had, what they deliberated on. And that matter was sent to the states for ratification as required in a constitutional amendment. The states did not ratify that. I don't know how we're going to get past it. It might have to get back to the National Assembly. But we all await what the court will have to say about this matter. But it is the right way to go. I have absolutely no doubt that the man in Aso Rock cannot be the one to pay close attention to whether I have drugs in the primary healthcare center that is near me. It will not happen. Even the level of accountability we are seeing now. For example, in the midst of all this situation that we have found ourselves, it is important to mention that much more money accrued to the states and the local government since the removal of fuel subsidy. So what that removal of fuel subsidy did was to take money from the people, give it to the government, and expect that the government will use it for the people. I am not so sure that the government at the state and at the local government level use the additional income, the fact that they made much more money, to the benefit of the people in those jurisdictions.
Well, I know that for the local government, because they do not have this autonomy, they can't even put that development in place. But hopefully, do you think maybe the constitution needs to be amended? And if it is amended, obviously, the local government, areas, they can have full autonomy and function in their right capacity.
Well, it is still under the same constitution that we've had stronger local governments in the past. They grew weaker over the years, and I don't know what would have been responsible for that. In the days when the Lagos Island local government would be raising a municipal bond, some states in Nigeria don't even know what a bond smells like. That was the quality of local government governance in those years. So whatever we need to do to get back to it, I believe it will help us a great deal. It looks to me, like I said, like a constitutional issue. Maybe at the end of the day, the court case now will lead us back in that direction to say, look, this is a constitutional issue. Let's get it back to the various state houses of assembly to ratify that part of the amendment that was already done. That National Committee on Constitution did include local government autonomy in what they did, but there was no ratification from the state.
My fear is that this local government might get this autonomy, but they will still be in the pockets of the state governors. And this is why. Now, it's almost like it is the state governor that picks his boys and puts in every local government, and they do his bidding. So no matter what amount is voted for them, it may still remain that way. Will you support INEC, for instance, who is saying that the state electoral bodies are not doing a good job and everything should be taken to the national, the INEC, to conduct local government elections and everything regarding local government elections? Do you think this will bring the required reform that we need in the local government system?
I think it is worth testing that model. It is obvious that the state INEC conducting local government elections has been a sham, a grand failure. It's not an election, it's a selection. The party that is ruling at the state will just automatically win all the seats in the local government. It is not working, obviously. So if it is not working, it might not be a bad idea to try the INEC version. Let it be conducted from the center. However, it gives me some worries, though, because what we are saying is that we are taking things that should be at that level back to the center. So maybe what we will do is, as the thing stabilizes, we still need to take it back to the state. See, when you even look at the quality of some of the local government chairmen, you're wondering whether there are people that you can entrust with the kind of money that are meant to come to the local government. So these are some of the issues.
Mr. Olodije, are you still there?
I'm here. Hello?
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, I was circling back to, this national anthem, right? For you, what's your opinion? New, old, that's the old, new, new, old, or a different one, in total? What do you think we're supposed to be doing right now based on the anthem for you? Because, I mean, you've sang both of them. You sang the Nigeria We Hail Thee, you also sang the Arise, O Compatriots. But if you were to choose one right now, I know you have your own sentiments, especially when it comes to the tribes and songs in the old one. But if we were to take that out and you were just to say, okay, this is an anthem I would really like to sing, which of them would you want? Or would you want an entire new one in totality of it all?
I will want a new one or a modified Arise, O Compatriots. If we feel there are certain missing things, that Arise, O Compatriot is not speaking to the fact that we believe in our diversity and that it is a plus for us. Then we can infuse a statement or clauses or sentences that speaks to that or that speak to that in a modified anthem. But going back to native and tribe and brotherhood in 2024 doesn't cut it. So for me, that old anthem is the least favored. If anything at all, I will take Arise, O Compatriot. But if I have my way, I will infuse whatever is the attraction in that old anthem into Arise, O Compatriot, and we have a brand new one.
Okay, let's walk the talk. Like this government is claiming to do, they're walking the talk. Now there is so much talk in that anthem. We do hope that we are going to walk that talk and be a Nigeria that doesn't look at ethnicity, that doesn't look at our
Pride
different...
and tongue.
Yeah, well, don't use it when he's still here. Okay, but a Nigeria that seeks only of unity and development for ourselves. We'd like to thank you, Mr. Olojede, for coming on the show this morning. It's been a pleasure, as always.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.
We've been talking to Mr. Gbolahan Olojede, a public affairs analyst. He joined us here from Lagos here. And we're going to take a short break. And when we return, we'll be looking at our second hot topic. Don't go away.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the Babin, I pay my rent. On the Babin, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. Nigerian government restarts 75,000 naira cash payments to citizens. Minister of Finance Wale Ejun has said the federal government has restarted the provision of conditional direct 75,000 naira cash transfers to 75 million Nigerians to tackle the impact of inflation. Ejun, who is the chairman of the Presidential Panel of Social Investment Program, explained that the cash transfer will improve the standard of living of Nigerians in the immediate term. Now, joining us to have a conversation is Mohammed Abdullahi, is a public relations analyst. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Nigerians. Always my pleasure to be here.
Thank you. All right, so we're talking about 75,000 naira to 75 million people, because of the high inflation rate right now. Now, I know that Nigeria has over 200 million people, so I'm wondering why is only 75 million people that are going to be impacted. That's one. Two, since we're talking about inflation rates, I'm wondering why 75,000 naira is the figure, because I don't know if 75,000 naira is enough to tackle inflation. But I just want to get your take and just bring us up to speed with what the government is trying to do, and if you think that is what we need as a country right now.
Yes. To start with, I think we needed to commend the government, at least for such initiative. 75 million Nigerians is equivalent to almost 30%, if not more, of the total population of Nigeria as of today. So that's a good step in providing, irrespective of the fact that, yes, it isn't such a big amount of money, but at least it's something. At least it can buy a bag of rice, perhaps, and some other few things. But to be serious, I think it's not what we actually need. Handing out cash to certain individuals or people is actually not what is necessary at the moment, or what is important. Perhaps the government should look at schemes that will be more of, that will solve more of short-term and even long-term goals, like farming, agriculture, providing tools for farmers. For instance, I don't know whether you experience it, whether you go to market often. You realize that tomato is, in fact, more precious than gold in Nigeria at the moment.
Yeah.
And the challenge is the fact that people can't go to farm, people can't transport this commodity from the north to Lagos and so on and so forth. So it's so expensive. What is the government doing about this? You know, rather than handing out cash, because like you said, 75,000 there. In fact, at the moment, a basket of tomato is more than 100,000 plus. You know, so yes, on one way, I mean, in one part, I commend the government for at least thinking towards that part of alleviating people's sufferings, but that alleviation is not even in a short time. It's just in a whisper. I mean, like in the blink of an eye, because 75,000 cannot take any household more than 2 weeks perhaps, or even 3 weeks maximum to get done with. So, but the government should think medium term and even long term. That will have more impact than handing out such cash to a section of Nigerians.
Well, is that all that you're worried about? What about do you think there's a structure at all that will make this cash get to whoever needs to get it?
Yeah, that's another problem. You realize the humanitarian ministry was actually, activities there were suspended, I mean, late last year because of distribution issues and so on and so forth. And this is what we've been grappling with. We, as a country, do not have verifiable data of doing everything that we do, which is shocking. We have Ministry of Communications, we have so many agencies, but we still find it very difficult, you know, to pin down verifiable data to carry out some of or implement some of our projects. It's shocking. And this gives room to a lot of corruption, you understand? Things are not verified. Things can, you know, the minister was just saying, yes, they've employed blah, blah, blah. He needed to give more concrete data. Who and how are they, making such money available to those beneficiaries? And how did even the government come to the conclusion of, yes, these 75 million persons are the most vulnerable, to enjoy this grant. So these are some of the challenges. And like I said, it gives room for a lot of manipulations, a lot of corruption. People at the helm of affairs, I mean, those people who will be in charge perhaps might see this as an opportunity also to get a bit of their own national cake and so on. Because yes, you can just do some abracadabra and say, yeah, you've been to Zamfara, even when you've never stepped there. You went to Tsafe. Tsafe is one of the, hinterland local governments there. But nobody's going to supervise, nobody's going to check, and then yes, those monies end up in private pockets and private coffers. So this is very, very challenging. We need to have verifiable data and how we come to the conclusion that things are done. If not, such kind of monies that government are putting, aside for projects like this might just end up largely in people's pocket.
Yeah. I totally agree with the data, because I'm really wondering what criteria they are using to choose the people and the data that they have to even disburse these funds. But since we're talking about inflation, because I mean that's the reason why there must be a cause. The cause for this is to tackle inflation in Nigeria. So how is this really going to tackle inflation if giving handouts to 75 million people? Because it's a one-time payment that you get 75,000 naira, but that doesn't really mean that in the next few months you'll still be able to afford these same commodities that you're trying to buy. So if I have 75,000 naira right now, I'm able to afford it. What happens tomorrow? So how is this really going to tackle inflation, and what should the government be doing to tackle inflation aside, these little palliatives that they're giving?
Handouts.
Yeah, that is the issue. You really actually nailed it.
Yeah.
Yes, perhaps 75,000. Like I mentioned earlier, 3 weeks, 1 month, you buy tomato, gari here and there, rice, and it's done. So what happened the next month? You understand? But perhaps again, let's be very fair. there are so many local governments across Nigeria in the hinterlands where perhaps 75,000 could begin a little bit of business. Yes. Perhaps maybe selling of these, maybe even selling of pepper, and so people perhaps might think of in implementing such monies if they perhaps get it then. Particularly those outside the cosmopolitan areas, the cities in Nigeria, they might think of, using such grant rather than just using it to buy food directly. Maybe using it, if it comes at once, 75,000, use it to start something little that might continue to generate.
But it may never get to these people. That's the problem. And it didn't start today, because I remember when we had a program from the First Lady that was being called Better Life for Rural Women. People now started calling it Better Life for Royal Women, because those are the people that actually enjoyed it. So it didn't start today. The fear is that these people you're mentioning may not even see it. I've heard about these palliatives, and I come from a village as well. Nobody ever benefited from it. So how will this even get to the people that need it? That is the concern that we're having.
Let's be optimistic that this time perhaps there will be a change.
Okay, okay. I like the optimism. I like the optimism. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, but
perhaps there might be a change. You understand? So,
but are you not concerned? Are you not concerned about the fact that maybe constitutionally or otherwise, there is a law that domiciles this kind of activity in the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, which has no head right now. So if the government is beginning or restarting it, it means that it will be taken, without regard to the law that established that kind of action, to another ministry that Nigeria didn't plan for. So these people will just be taken suddenly to come and do an activity that they were not meant to do. Are you not worried about that?
Yes, I'm actually worried. It seems, perhaps, I'm not sure, but what is happening, it seems, is the Federal Ministry of Finance that might be in charge, since they're in charge of Nigeria's monies and so on and so forth. So from what the minister mentioned, it seems they might be in charge. Definitely, I think even though also, is my opinion, please, I think even though the heads of the humanitarian ministry are suspended, I want to believe the ministry is still functioning. The civil servants there are still working. So perhaps what might happen, I'm just saying as well, what might happen is that, yes, the Federal Ministry of Finance will be in charge, but definitely in tune with, the civil servant from the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. You understand? That is my thinking anyway. It might be so and it might not be so. But I don't want to believe that ministry was scrapped. I think what the announcement was, that the heads, and some of the projects are suspended for the time being. So if the ministry is still functioning, then it means at least we have a pathway. We have a template to follow, even though it's not been correct all the while, but at least there's a template on ground that needed to be fine-tuned, so that, like you mentioned, people in your village, people in my village, in down Akoko Northwest in Ondo State should be able to get this thing, rather than just announcement, rather than them just listening or hearing the announcement on TVs and nothing gets to them. So I'm very much optimistic this time around. Perhaps we should be able to begin to get things right.
So what measures would you say that they need to put in place? If it's coming from the finance ministry, what measures can they put in place to ensure that there is no fraud, no corruption, and it gets to the right people? Because 75 million people, that's, like you said, it's 30% of the population, even though I think the poverty line is, quite above that at the moment, but that's still something for a few. So how are we sure that, there's not going to be any corruption involved in this? What measures would you ask the government to put in place?
I think for me, I will advocate for a direct transfer. Yes, if we want to be truthful to ourselves, there's hardly any village at the moment in Nigeria that is not connected to any mobile network, at least whether it's one. It might not be all the major three and even some, but at least one or two is connected. So I think if we eliminate, hand to hand, if we eliminate that, where we employ more of technology in terms of using the mobile network, like the minister said, registered numbers, now that we have the NIN, at least most people, the data are there that most people have registered for the NIN and so on and so forth. If we can use that method, I think it will go a long way in eliminating fraud and corruption in the system. But in a system where we still have perhaps one account officer that is charged with maybe say 10 billion or even 1 billion to go and distribute to people in Kogi State or go and distribute to people in Sokoto and so on and so forth, I think that might not augur well because by the time we keep using more of manual method, we are prone to a lot more of corruption and fraudulence act. But when we employ more of technology, I mean, the mobile network now. Some of the networks can receive money without bank account. Yeah, I don't want to mention names. There are a lot of, you just have your number, take off the first zero. Some companies, some of our major companies, in fact, they have more capabilities than our traditional banking system. Yes, they deliver money to people's phone numbers, So I think it should be the way to go, in my own opinion. That will eliminate a lot of corrupt practices and fraudulence in the system.
But we are between the devil and the deep blue sea, excuse me, in the fact that, I don't know about your village, but in my village, the poorest of the poor that they are talking about do not have phones. And if they do not have phones, you can guess already that they do not even have bank accounts. So how does this money get to these people? Except you're giving to the people who already have bank accounts and who have phones, who may not even be the poorest of the poor in the community that we are dealing with.
Or going to share cash.
Yes. So what do we do? Because technology works until it gets to where it cannot work. And the people who need this money are the people that technology is not working for.
Well, I'm really surprised about your village, on a lighter note, because
there is network in my village, but there are people that need this money. They don't have phones.
They can't afford it.
They can't.
Because I know my 85-year-old grandmother that knows nothing about it, doesn't speak English, but she has a phone, So
because she can afford it. So this is an affordability.
Like I said, on a lighter note.
Yes, she can afford it.
On a lighter note.
Yes.
Yes, a lighter note. So, but I think that is where perhaps maybe the National Population Commission comes in. I mean, perhaps even not a census, but at least perhaps maybe a legwork. I mean, for each state. I mean, those states that are really identified as being very, very poor. We have the NBS data that says some of the states are actually poorer than other states and so on and so forth. Perhaps we have, not a census at the moment, but at least a mini action from the NPC, to go around some of these villages, these hinterlands, to get verifiable data of people. And then maybe we could use that. But again, that is also very dangerous because this, like I said, whenever it includes a lot of human physical action, it's very much prone to corruption and prejudice.
I don't know, the NPC that has not been able to conduct census for how many years now? They said they did it how many years ago, but I can't even remember the last time that census was done. And then they now said they were going to conduct...
Gearing up to administration actually stopped them. They were gearing up, they've been allocated money, they've been budgeted for to conduct census.
They knew the timing was bad, they still went ahead. And then when they said don't do it, it was like, we tried our best. Now we're not hearing anything. They say they are going to do it. We are not hearing anything. Census should be conducted highest 10 years. Yes, and now we've not heard anything from the NPC. So this is
you can't blame NPC because, I mean, the current government actually suspended it. So there's nothing the head of the NPC could do if the president and the presidency says we should hold on with the census. So I think that shouldn't be the fault. It's just like every sphere of our life in Nigeria. Things are not done the right way it should, which is challenging, which is very unfortunate. You understand? So one policy from the government can just come tomorrow. In fact, it's getting to a point where, jokingly, you might decide to get married tomorrow, and then government will say no, you can't use that land. Perhaps that hall is to be demolished tomorrow. So, that changes every of your plan almost immediately. So, this
or they change your marriage list for you and say things are costly. Go ahead, Mohammed. As we wrap up, just please go ahead.
Yeah, so that is it. So I don't think the blame should be on MPC. At least they were, whether it is real or not, they were actually gearing up to conduct the census towards the end of Buhari's regime, blah, 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 and so on. A lot of billions were allocated, But the new government says, come on, just wait, wait for our directives and so on. So perhaps we're still waiting, because what we keep banding all over the internet space is that we are more than 200 million. It's actually still not verifiable. The last time we conducted elections, we were less than maybe 1-something million, 1 and something, or even 90-something million. So we just keep banding these figure here and there without, without
may not even be up to
data
200 million. That's a possibility as well.
Well, that's why we need to have a census so we know what the actual figure is. But in
Sure,
regards
sure.
to this 75,000 naira being given to some citizens, I just hope that they are able to get it. I hope that the right people who really need it at this time can get that fund. And also, it's not just a palliative to say we're giving you this handout and tomorrow face your fronts, because we can't do anything
It
for
will
you.
happen.
So we hope that the government is really doing something when it comes to tackling inflation and just helping us to grow our economy. This is where we have to wrap it up on this segment. Thank you so much, Mohammed, for coming.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
All right. Okay, we've been speaking with Mohammed Abdullahi. He is a public relations analyst, and we've just been talking about the fact that the federal government has decided to give 75,000 naira to 75 million people in Nigeria to help tackle the high rate of inflation. But this is where we have to wrap it up on the show today. It's been lovely having a breakfast with you as always. My name is Gomet Paulson.
And my name is Nyamgul Agaji. I hail you.
We hail thee. Have an amazing day.
It's been an unusual year for us all. We've been forced to learn to adapt to the changes that COVID-19 has brought upon us. However the cards may have been dealt to us this year, we have remained resilient. The Afrima Fashion Show stems from the Afrima Award Show, which is the biggest African award show in the diaspora. Every year, we have showcased designers and we bring together people from all over the world. This year, the Afrima Runway is graced by the top 3 African designers who have welcomed the challenge of doing a virtual runway show without any physical audience. Don Murphy, Ese Ezanabo, and lastly, Sai Sanko. Let the show begin.
Hi guys, my name is Sai Sankar and I am a luxury resort wear designer, and I make the most amazing and fabulous kaftans and everything that you desire for traveling. I just really love the way women carried themselves back then, you know, the Marilyn Monroes, you know. It was sexy, but there was still glamour to it, you know, and elegance and sophistication. And I feel that's what my designs are about, you know. also been inspired just by my continent, the continent of Africa. Growing up in Sierra Leone, it's just this beautiful, bustling colors, you know, it's so vibrant, the marketplaces, you know, Christmas, it's just, everything about it is just so energetic and it's so powerful and colorful, and it just makes me really happy. And so no matter what collection I do, it always goes back to that. And so that's why you see all this colorful prints and all these bold colors, you know. I feel women wearing it, it just makes them so extremely happy, you know, and they look absolutely gorgeous in it too.
My name is S.A. Grambowski, and I am the designer and owner for S.A. Azinabor Atelier. My source of inspiration for my designs, number one, to be honest, comes from God, because I go to sleep literally and dream about my designs. And that only has to be from God. So I always give credit to Him for that. And of course, my culture is very influenced in my design. I've been designing since I was 8 years old. Even before that, my mom would tell me wild stories of me taking her fabrics and cutting them into pieces and making a dress or a skirt or pants out of her expensive African materials that she had in our home back in Nigeria when I was growing up. And I draw a lot of inspirations from where I've been, and I just try to tie them into modern design mixed with vintage designs, mixed with traditional looks, and just tie it all together in a bowl to create a true S.A. Azinabor couture piece.
Hello, my name is Daniel Mofo. I'm the founder and designer of Don Murphy, a men's luxury custom suit clothing in Dallas, Texas. Fashion is color. In the past, men were all very scared of, the colors. They were used to the blacks, the grays. But now, if you look at fashion, men wear almost bolder colors than women, You see men in red suits, men in yellow suits, men in pink suits. So for me, fashion is color.
is expressive. So when I just wake up and have an idea and I create something out of that idea, it's God showing off. So that's what it is for me.
I've always been a little bit shy, but when it comes to fashion, I will wear anything and I will wear it with confidence. And so for me, that is a way of expressing myself, you know? And I feel it also is the same thing for a lot of women.
African for me means community. It means living together. If you look at Africans, they're all talking about the different countries in Africa. You know, it's all about our community. So for me, Africa means community. It means living together.
"60 Minutes with Angela" starts right now.
Right. It was in November 2020 that my guest today announced by live broadcast his intention to revive a political party originally formed in 1979. At that time, in 1979, his father had formed the political party, he says, to, and I'm quoting him now, clean up society like a mop. End of quote. Now, 41 years or so later, the son's idea is to liberate the Nigerian people. But the question is, do the Nigerian people accept and or agree that they are indeed in bondage? And if they do do they accept also that they are in need of liberation? Well, he calls himself a revolutionary politician. He is the pro tem national chairman of the Movement of the People and a Grammy-nominated Nigerian musician. Oluseun Anikulapo Kuti joins me on the program today. So, you know, I want to take you back to November 2020, your live broadcast. At that time, you announced your intention to revive the party that your late father formed in 1979, Movement of the People.
Yeah.
And I want to quote you now. You say, the idea is that we liberate the Nigerian people. This movement will be the movement to cultivate those minds, those ideas, the Pan-Africanist and Socialist Foundation, end of quote. My question is, do you really think that Nigerians want to be liberated? That is, if they accept and agree that they are in bondage.
Yeah, I think they want to be free. But what they don't understand is what they want to be free from. Because there's a lot of misconceptions, miseducation, misinformation about what the issues are.
Yes.
Because those people that are causing the issues want to keep it like some kind of mystery, like some kind of mystic thing that cannot be solved by human beings, like it is ordained by some spiritual force, and go out, come and because that's why they don't let us realize the greatness that is already innate to our existence as African people. They don't remind us of the Nkrumahs, the Lumumbas, the Sankaras, and all these great people of African origin and descent that has done great things for our liberation. And one of the most important things they also do is to make sure that African people forget who we are. Not even exactly. Good question. Not in the historical sense, not even in the genealogical sense.
Yes.
But in the political sense that we are a children of sacrifice. That anything that we as African people are able to do today is because certain Africans died for that to happen. No matter what it is that you want to do as an African person today,
yes.
You want to go to school, somebody has to die for that. And we are the only group in this system, this capitalist, Eurocentric system,
yes.
Imperialist system that we live under, that were not invited to the table. The Chinese were oppressed, then after a while they were invited. The Indians or the Asians, Indians were oppressed, after a while they were invited to the table. Even among Europeans themselves, Eastern Europeans, Italians, the Spanish, everybody went through that, but they were later invited to the table. But in our own case, we forget that we couldn't even vote until 1960. Black people forget that no black person in this world could vote, even in our own land, until 1960. I mean, this is just 50 years. What happened that was possible?
Yes.
Entering the bus. People forget that even in Nigeria during colonial times, you couldn't walk on the same pavement as a white man. When Europeans were walking, you have to step off and take off your hat and bow for him to pass. This is how we lived till certain Africans broke that. And we are the inheritors of that sacrifice.
Yes.
But for some reason, due to television, the influences of the leading blacks who have always been sellouts,
And I'm happy you use that word sellout. Because when you talk about, like history, slavery, and all those sort of things, do you also admit that our people are culpable? If our people did not help to sell us?
Yeah, there were certain Africans that were definitely, what I don't do is dwell on that. Nobody dwells on their traitors. Africans have not handled their traitors.
Yes.
For whatever reasons. But don't dwell on your traitors, dwell on your heroes. If you look at the Holocaust, do you think there were no Jews fighting?
Who were betraying?
No, not betraying.
Yeah.
Fighting against their own people. Actively, the Jewish police of the Nazis, they had the Nazis speak Jew, even in the concentration camps.
Yes.
It was Jews that were leading other Jews to the gas chamber. It was Jews that were separating the Jews that could work from the Jews that couldn't work and sending them to their death on behalf of Nazis. Do you hear the Jews today talking about where other Jews put Jews in the gas chamber?
Yes.
You don't even know it exists because that is not what they are about. It is the self-hate of the leading Africans, not leading blacks, they are not Africans. It's the self-hate of the leading blacks of this world that allows this narrative to continue to perpetuate where other blacks, as if that means anything. Yes, we are humans. And if we as Africans accept that we are humans, we must accept that there's treachery in human nature. Some human beings are traitors. So if you are humans, you must have traitors among you.
Yes, and we must learn to move on from that.
Expel them, expose them, and move on. Not keep dwelling as if that is the issue. Africans were involved. We know Africans were involved.
Yes.
But what the issue is, it is not an African crime. Slavery, colonialism, imperialism is a European crime against the world. Stop talking about the few little Africans that are traitors. Who's talking about traitors? We want to handle traitors, as part of the issue, not dwell on their matter.
You go further to say that we have to do the work now to begin to engage those of us in society that have been completely left behind and that have been overlooked. So, this journey you are on, I call it your Pan-Africanism, your socialism journey. Is it just about being relevant? Is it just because you think some people are being overlooked to participate in the political process? Is that it?
The main thing I believe is that I know that the African story is ongoing. We cannot, how do I put it? We cannot allow for Africa to stall the way it is stalling and regress the way it is regressing. We as African people must find the solutions, must find the strategies that we can use to start to pull our nation forward, our continent forward. But there's no pulling the continent forward if you abandon the people. Right. So whatever we must do means that we must be bringing African people along. Yeah. So that for me is the journey. How are we, as the professionals of Africa, that have been able to secure some comforts within this oppressive system, how are we able to translate or articulate our issues or our realities to the majority of us who do not have that opportunity? One of the issues we have in this country is that we are not trained to understand that our skills are for national development, right? So if you go to school to be a doctor, for example, you are trained that your degree is to help you get a job, to take care of your family and make money. You are not taught that your degree is to heal the people. So nobody is a doctor to heal anybody as Africans. Nobody is an engineer to build anything. Everybody is anything that they are to make money.
And even if the doctor decides that he wants to do that for the community, don't you think he's looked at like a mugu?
That's what I'm saying, because he's looked at as a mugu by the other professionals, because the professionals of Africa have aligned themselves with the oppressors. You understand? Just the way their ancestors aligned themselves with the slave traders. They have also aligned with the oppressor. And this is dangerous. Because if you look at NSAS, when the poor people of Nigeria decided to also voice their pain, you find out that the professional NSAS people ran away because they said, they are looting, they are hoodlums. The main issue here wasn't the people rising up and burning down all these symbols of imperialism and capitalism. The problem here was that the professional organizers of NSAS did not see it fit to organize with the grassroots, to build a bridge to the people. And that's the problem we still have, in our society.
There's still a division.
There's a division between those of us that have been accepted as employees of the oppressor and those of us that have not been. The pets. Because to the leaders of this country, we're all animals. Everybody, they don't care. That some animals are pets.
Some
are wild.
More equal than others.
Exactly. Some are wild, and they brought in some as pets. They domesticated some. So these pets think that they are better than the wild animals outside, and that's the problem we have. And until we as professionals of Nigeria, begin to wield our power and our influence on behalf of the people, they will also see us as the enemy. Our businesses will be targets. Our homes will be targets. Our children will be targets.
So in other words, if you are elitist and you're aligning yourself with the people that you call the oppressors, even you are not safe.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, look at my colleague Dibanj. You know, I'm afraid to use the word my friend right now until he says his name. Or until he cares. I've been trying to call him since yesterday, not answering me. But anyway, what happens is...
Let's just give a little background to that so that those watching can understand.
Oh, yeah, that he has been
he was arrested
and accused of diversion of national funds.
Yes.
But the big picture of this is, he's not the one that controls Empower Money, is it?
No.
Somebody that is powerful took that money and gave it to him. But today he's the fall guy, right?
Yes.
But that is how it's going to be.
That's the story of corruption.
When the people rise up, the real criminals run away with their billions, get on their boats, get on their planes, and we will be the fall guy. We'll be the ones that these poor people run into our homes, burn it down, maim, kill.
People will be the targets.
Because when we had the opportunity, I mean, how many children are dying in hospitals today because of 2,000? The Nigerian professional will never go on strike. I don't understand the inhumanity that exists in the training and the condition that they've given to us in this country. That we can sit down in our offices, they'll tell us that thousands of children, I mean, university graduates did not go to school for 9 months. The professionals of Nigeria did not stand up in solidarity. They kept going to work every day, kept the system going, kept making money for the people. As if nothing happened.
Yeah.
People are dying in the hospital. They don't care. They are working for their Oga. Yes, sir, yes, sir. They are in banks. Money is missing in the country. Laundry money. Everybody's qualified. Everybody's quiet. Everybody is complicit. And this is what must change. We cannot be paying lip service to how the nation is being destroyed.
Yes.
While we are the ones actively helping them to destroy it.
Okay, so
we have to pick a side.
That brings me to the question of the political party movement of the people.
Yeah.
Where is that now? You tried in 2021 to register that.
Yeah, we're still at it.
It's not yet registered.
No, because I realize that party formation in Nigeria is very, very elitist, meaning that every party has to be national.
Yes.
And I don't think that is democratic. You know,
you have to have a presence in all 36 states.
Yeah, no, 26.
Okay.
You have to have 26, 2/3, I think. You know, but for me, as I was saying, I think it is really, really elitist. You know, because poor people cannot organize in the community to represent themselves if they don't like what they are saying.
Yes.
If those poor people don't like what they are saying, it's either they join with their oppressors, you know, or they just give up. You know, and I think that this is not fair. But anyway, we're in the process of finishing the Abuja office, which is one of the big requirements. We have our 26 states.
Right.
Maybe 11 is not as active as I want it to be, but we have our 26 states. Now, that being said,
yes,
this has been a labor of love of maybe just 1,000 individuals that have been all over Nigeria that are in MOP that are active. We have maybe 14,000 membership, but maybe like 1,000 people that are active in building the party. You know, and that for me is what matters. That you have a few people that are willing to go above and beyond,
yes,
understanding that this is what we must do for our country to move forward. I wish that the movement was bigger, you know,
and more active.
And more active. I mean, people are participating more. But you know, we are using our resources, our money, our time, but we understand that it is for the people, and also that change is not carried out by millions of people.
Yes.
You know, I always use Che Guevara as an example, and Fidel Castro. Fidel Castro crossed from Mexico into Cuba to start his revolution with only 58 people. You know, and the revolution was successful, and they controlled the country till today, regardless of whatever sanctions that they face, you know, for representing their people honestly.
Yes.
You know, so yeah, I mean, that's why I still have hope, and I understand that what matters is us being able to breed the right politicians to take power in this country. There's nothing more important than that.
Nothing more important than that. So, the nearest future, we will see MOP field candidates.
Yes, definitely.
Do you have intentions?
No, I don't have intentions to contest for public office.
Right.
I'm a party man, so my intentions is to continue to be the chairman of the MOP, and with that we're able to, you know, because another problem we have in this country is that we don't have strong political parties. Every political party is only as strong as their strongest politician. You know, there's no real party machinery.
Yes.
You know.
And once that strongest politician goes down, the party
dies. You know, or goes down. You are the level of your strongest politician in Nigeria. You know, so we want to reverse that. We want the party to be ultimate. We want the party to be supreme.
Dues?
Yeah. Our members paid. Everything we've done is through the We don't have any godfather. We don't have any international organization backing us in secret. We don't know. Everything is direct from the grassroots up to the professionals that are in the organization, funding it with their those nights. We are online every time begging for money. We are not ashamed.
Join us again after the break. Right, welcome back. Now, I'm shocked though that you are not a fan of young people in power. Why?
Because youth is not an ideology. Youth is a demographic. Some of the most heinous crimes in Nigeria were committed by young people. So young people have been given the opportunity, to serve, and they turned out just like their masters. What we are looking for is the right ideology, and the right candidate. No, it doesn't matter about age. I'm not an ageist.
Yes.
This ageism business, youth put youth in power.
What about gender? It doesn't matter.
Gender for me also doesn't. I don't believe in gender roles. So gender definitely doesn't matter to me, male or female. Look at Desani, for example. Desani is a woman. Look at what she did. So all these things. Gender is an ideology. Age is not an ideology. We need people with strong ideological grounding.
Yes.
And that's what matters. That also have track record that we can trust.
Are you not worried though that in seeking this the perfect people?
Not perfect.
Because it sounds sometimes it sounds idealistic. I always say that the people we elect will come from among us. And we're not really great at obeying rules and following due process
because the leaders of Nigeria don't follow due process. I spoke about this guy because I want people to understand that even the worst human beings deserve human rights. This is the base. You are only as good as the worst of society is treated. So even though this guy is a bigot, when Deborah Samuel was killed, he was online hailing the killers and trying to kill more people. This guy, Aisha Buhari, locked up for calling her fat.
Yes.
But at the same time, who is next? I mean, when people do those kind of things, I'm really worried because my mouth is big.
Yes. But okay.
So
does it not matter to you if he called her fat, but the reason she's fat is because she's battling lupus? Does that change your opinion?
It doesn't change my opinion at all because his point was simple. He made a statement. It's not a crime. People that say freedom after speech is not guaranteed.
Yes.
Anything that you do to anybody after they exercise their freedom of speech is a crime. Even though this crime is not prosecuted because we live in a lawless society.
Yes. But the freedom of speech is not absolute.
It is absolute, except it is untrue. And then you have the right to go to court.
Yes.
And what's the word I'm looking for? Sue for libel. It is not whatever I say from my mouth.
Yes.
It's not criminal.
But it is criminal.
I can't go to police station for saying anything.
What if what you said is not true?
Libel. You take me to court and you sue me for libel. I have no business in a police station for words of my mouth. What's next? You start arresting people for what they are thinking. What if I'm thinking that she's fat in my head 24 hours? What's the next step?
You haven't actually said it.
Yeah, but what's the next step? You touch police. After what police? Where are we going next? It's touch police. They start arresting people for their thoughts.
Yes.
So we need to clamp down on these things. Immediately we see them, or immediately
call them out.
Yeah, call them out.
As far as 2023 is concerned now, let's talk about that. What are your projections? First thing, do you think young people will turn up and make a difference the way everyone is talking about that?
Well, the thing about, as they say, young people again, I don't know. Nigerians, young people are Nigerians. So whatever we decide, all Nigerians are going to experience it.
Yes.
Young people are already leaning towards Peter Obi of the Labour Party. And
are you leaning towards him? Do you have a candidate in mind?
Well, I can't ask the potent chairman of the MOP.
Your party is not
committee,
fielding a candidate.
Yes, because we're not even registered, so
Right.
we haven't found any candidates yet.
Surely you have someone in mind.
Yes, I do, but I cannot publicly promote any candidate. It's against my party constitution, party rules and regulations. So I don't want, and there are many people that don't like me, then will be looking to unseat the chairman already. So,
okay, so you're already experiencing all that political.
Yeah, but that's what it is. I mean, if you have read Frantz Fanon's Wretched of the Earth,
yes,
any movement that wants to represent the people must first be, only a movement of the people can be a government of the people.
Yeah.
You understand? And within that movement would arise all the issues that you go through as a government. It will happen in that
a microcosm of the larger thing.
So, and it is in engaging those conflicts. It is in experiencing those things that you gain the experience that you use
in the country,
in the larger picture of the country. So we are in MOP. We don't stifle anybody. We don't. Everything must play out.
Yes.
And nothing is too small. No grievance is too little. Everything must play out because that's the revolutionary way.
So the reason I ask that is that, as you said, many young people are leaning towards P2B, and in the run-up publicly.
Yes.
Aha.
Be careful.
Publicly.
Yes.
I always say that you never know who people will vote for on the day when they're standing in front of the ballot.
People are lying because social media is the whole world judging you at once. So nobody wants to be judged negatively.
Yes.
Everybody is trying to appease
put their best foot forward.
Exactly. Create a good first impression.
Yes.
You don't want to say you don't like Peter Obi on one post.
They will come
1,000 people will just insult your family. Some people can't take that, and nobody should take that really. I think social media should be very regulated, even because there's something about it that is dangerous, that is unnatural also. I think the danger part everybody already knows. The low self-esteem is creating the suicides, the depression. People, I think that is being well documented. But what people don't really talk about is the fact that you are getting the information, or rather what's the word I'm looking for?
Unfiltered information.
No. When you do something, you're getting feedback from the whole world at once.
Yes.
Humanity did not evolve
That's
to know what 10,000 people think about you at once.
Yes.
At most, the 3 or 4 people around you. But now we live in a world where instantly you can know how 20,000 feel about you, 50,000 people feel about you. And I don't think our brains and our neurological
makeup can handle it.
Our nervous system has evolved to handle this kind of. So it's creating another type of disease amongst people mentally as well.
Okay, so we know now that some people will publicly therefore P2B. The reason I ask that is, in the run-up to INEC announcing the kickoff to campaigns, a lot of people rushed to register. There was a proliferation of young people really registering. For the first time, we saw a demographic of people interested in getting their PVCs. Wouldn't that make a difference?
No. Voting in an election is the least. By the time you are voting in an election,
yes, all the work has been finished.
Exactly. Because I always say to people, they say, your vote is your power. No. Only knowledge is power. Vote is a tool to exercise that power. So without knowledge, you have no power. Without knowledge, you will vote for the wrong person. You will vote for your own demise.
Yes.
You understand? So I always say to young people that Peter Obi, I say, you are all like this. Nigerian young people. Look at them in the university. They have 2 lecturers. Let's use it. One guy doesn't take bribe to pass anybody.
Yes.
One guy takes bribe to pass anybody. So that guy that takes bribe absolves you of doing your work as a student, of studying, of learning, that rigorous work of academia. So that is the lecturer most Nigerian young people will lean to because they want to party. They want to the way they've also been programmed growing up. Looking at the elite of Nigeria, you don't see hard work. You don't think of any rich man in Nigeria and say, that guy is working hard. He doesn't know where he made it. So we don't have that. So there's none of that example coming from the top down. You know, so young people are not interested in that hard work. They want to toe the line till they meet one person that will, you know, give them success. Because success here is giving. Everybody will blow. You know, so we don't want to work. Peter Obi gives young people in Nigeria the opportunity not to do their political diligence. You know, not to join a party or organize themselves or study politics or study history or understand the ideology that they need for their country. They like Peter Obi because he has claimed to them that he has done the work. They should just vote for him and he will fix it.
Are you going to vote on ethnic lines?
No.
No. You are not one of those who says it's Yoruba's turn.
No. I don't believe in ethnicity in terms of politics. There's no ethnicity, but there's only interest.
Okay.
I always say to people, when they are sharing Nigeria's money,
yes,
they don't discuss ethnicity there. It's interest.
Yes.
Have you seen them fight out of Senate before? You Yoruba people, pour money everywhere because they are not from it. No. Everywhere is quiet and it's moving nicely. Yes. You know, so I don't think personally that ethnicity has to. I mean, we as Nigerian people, as I said, we're also not class conscious. You know, class consciousness is not something that is bred into Nigerians. We don't understand that in every society there's an elite and there's the working class, and that the interests of these two groups are naturally antithetical to each other.
Yes.
That
at
the
cross purposes.
The working class people, your interest is different from the interest of the rich, because the rich wants to continually exploit your labor, you know, for their own personal selfish interests.
Yes.
You know, Nigerian people don't really see this. You know, for example, the way they talk about, Northerners are trying to overthrow Nigeria.
Yes.
We don't like Northerners. The same people that say, I don't like Hausa people. Tomorrow we say, oh God, please, Dangote, make me like Dangote. Is Dangote not from the north? So it is actually poor Northerners they don't like. You know? So Nigerians have been kind of molded to really look down on poor people.
Where do you stand on the question of the alleged marginalization of people of the Southeast? Do you think, for instance, that this election should have been left to people of Southeast extraction alone to contest for the presidential seat?
I feel like if Nigeria begins to toe that line, then we are not really interested in building a nation. You know, everybody that represents Southeast in the Senate and the House of Representatives, every governor, every state assemblyman is from the East, right?
Yes.
If they feel that they are marginalized, where is that voice in the Senate? Where is that voice in their government offices? Where is that voice? So there's still this disconnect between the political reality and the political rhetoric. Igbo people, if they feel like Nigeria is not representing them, my advice is that they work with politicians that want to fix that, not politicians that want to benefit from that.
That want to fix it,
Yes.
not benefit from it.
Yes, so fix it.
It must be an altruistic person, a person with altruistic notions.
No, it must be their own purpose. Okay, we don't want this marginalization anymore. How do we fix it? So this is why I always talk about organizing.
Yes.
So people must organize and decide. Okay, we want to. It is our job. It is your life. No politician, nobody, no group. If it is affecting you, you must engage to change it. You know, but they keep churning out these politicians that are interested in national cake. And if you look at my political history, I was once somebody that was close to Asiwaju Bola Tinubu politically in this country, and from ACN in AD. I mean, his first governorship and second term governorship campaign.
1999
and 2003. I performed the whole shows with him, followed exactly because I believe that Yoruba people too were being marginalized. That's what they were selling to us too. Oh, we are being marginalized. We are looking for true federalism.
Yes.
Let's take power from our state and we'll make sure that Yoruba people leave this country.
Yes.
We all fought and got. As soon as they got there,
they forgot.
I've not heard true federalism once since 2015. That word, true federalism, I've not heard it once since 2015. So I have been in that game, you know, and I understand the futility of it all.
Yes.
You know that we as Nigerian people, whether you are Igbo, whether you are Yoruba, whether you are Hausa, we are under the same oppressive elites.
And the elites don't see themselves in that ethnic life.
They see themselves as Europeans and Arabs. They don't even see themselves as African. They are not of us. They don't. All their children have the real country that they think they are from is the passport of their children. So
the real country
that they think they are from. So when you see any politician asking, where is your child from? Let their children bring all their passport. Peter Obi, Atiku, Tinubu, bring all your children. Let's see their passports. How many of them are Nigerians like us? We don't know. We are not sure. So we as Nigerians must understand that it is our cross.
Yeah.
Whatever they are telling you is to divide, and the insecurity that we face is all poor people in Nigeria that are facing it. The inflation we are facing is all of us that are facing it. The lack of oil is all of us that are facing it. All these problems do not discern our ethnicity. We as Nigerians must actually organize ourselves, and that's the only thing missing, that we are not organized enough in the face of our own oppressive government.
Join us again after the break. Welcome back. So, you describe yourself as a revolutionary politician, and you made a distinction. When I researched you, you said you made a distinction between an activist and a revolutionary politician. You say your late paternal grandma wasn't an activist; she was a revolutionary. What's the difference?
I can put it this way: activism can exist within the status quo. So you can find many activists that are also government employees. You can find many activists that are also taking money from government. I know this whole NGO business, activists taking money from imperialists. Taking money from Ford Foundation, one of the biggest racists that ever exist in the world. He set up a foundation to give you money to fix black people's problem. How is that true? How is that possible? People for Rhodes Scholar in Africa, Cecil Rhodes, people that say that they are for Africa, going to collect money from Cecil Rhodes. One of the most evil things, not even human being, one of the most evil things to have happened to African people is Cecil Rhodes. So there's a disconnect between activism and any kind of real change. Revolutionaries are about real change, a real dismantling of the status quo. And I think that's the main difference between a revolutionary and an activist.
Right, okay. So, a lot of people question your motives, when they listen to you talking about all this Pan-Africanism and socialism and so on. You graduated from a university in Liverpool, yet you have advocated, for decolonization, you call it, of our educational curriculum. Don't you think that's ironic?
No, not in any way. Funny enough, the only place in the world where one can study Pan-Africanism is in Europe and America, African studies. You come to Nigeria, there's no single course for Pan-Africanism in any of our universities. There's no Pan-Africanism as a course in Africa. That's a shame. That means that our educational system is long broken. So I for one, I don't distinguish between how do I put it?
Because some people would say, you're saying decolonize education, but you schooled abroad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I schooled abroad because there's no proper educational system for me to engage with here. For me, it is important that we judge people by what they are doing. I don't want us to judge people by our imagination. What I'm doing, whatever the motive anybody thinks it is, you can't prove that. You can only judge me by what I am doing or what I say I'm going to do. Exactly. You cannot sit there in your house, not do anything, and then you are imagining things and expect me to take that
your imagination
seriously. Especially when I look at what our collective consciousness has resulted in. Nigeria is a manifestation of the collective consciousness of all Nigerian people. You know, so except I meet people that are moving the way I'm moving, I don't pay anybody any mind. You know, except you are doing what I'm doing or you are doing it better than me.
Yes.
Why should I take your criticisms of what I'm doing serious?
On board.
I don't even pay them any mind. You know.
One of the things that many people don't talk about, that I know about, is the rules when growing up in Kalakuta with your late father. The lack of seniority, for instance. Fela didn't elevate his biological kids above anyone in the shrine. I mean, you all were flogged the same with the same.
Well, I wasn't flogged as a kid, but not because I couldn't be flogged, but because I just didn't get into trouble.
Okay.
You know, I knew how to follow the rules. My sister, on the other hand, woo, she got some beatings. Oh my God! You know, not me. I was, you know,
straight laced,
straight in line. You know,
was that because you were fearful of Fela?
No. I think because I truly respected my dad. Yeah. I had a very strong relationship with Fela. I mean, growing up, we were almost inseparable. So I kind of, even at a young age, understood where it was coming from, because it took the time to really explain things to me in ways that I couldn't really understand then as a kid.
Yes.
But growing up now, I understand them even more. You know, so for me, being able to be in Kalakuta without rocking the boat was easy, because Kalakuta was a fair place.
Yes.
You know, it was a fair place, it was a just place. You know, and I think that's where my sense of fairness and justice comes from, and why I cannot stand any kind of unjust behavior around me. Yeah. If somebody cheats me or tricks me or is unfair to me, the thing is eating at me for months. I'm looking for revenge, I swear. I can't wait until I get the person back. I really can't wait. My sense of justice is so high.
Yeah. And was there any pressure when you took over the band, Egypt 80?
I didn't take over the band. That's another misconception. I'd been in the band since I was 8.
Yes.
So
I
just stayed in the band. Okay.
Take over management of the band. Was there pressure, and is there still pressure today to emulate Fela musically?
Of course, always. You know, I think even if I was an architect,
yes,
people would say your building is not as fine as your father's music was sweet.
Yes.
You know,
so you get that a lot.
Yeah,
when you go on tours, do the crowds request some of Fela's songs?
Well,
even if you're not planning to play one.
All my shows abroad, I play one of my father's songs. I always start my show with one of my father's songs. As a sign of respect. No, I change it. But this year, I was playing Kalakuta show at every concert.
Yes.
But my fans, you know, funny enough, they understand my heritage, they understand my lineage, but my fans are still my fans, especially internationally. You know, I've cultivated my own following, you know, not inherited my father's following.
Not Fela's following, not Femi's following,
but
everyone has their following.
Also have my dad's following. So my show is so amazing, because if you come to my show, you meet young people and older people that were watching my dad, you know, and people from everywhere in the world. My show is a real like mashup of humanity, you know, and that's why I'm happy that people understand my message, because when I speak on stage, I'm not speaking to just young people or just old people, you know, or just poor or just rich or just Africans or just Europeans. I'm speaking to a global audience, really.
Yes.
I think, you know, like when you talk about crossover as an artist, I'm truly crossover artist. Like if I'm playing in Poland, for example, my audience is 90% Polish.
Yes.
You know, not 90% Africans and then 10% Polish. No. It's 90% Polish people will come to.
They understand what you say.
They feel what I say. You know, music is a universal language.
Yes.
You know, and even though they don't understand the lyrics per se, my real fans know my lyrics. You know, anywhere in the world they want to sing with you. You know, even though they don't understand the words, they're singing the melody. You know, but they understand my orientation. They know what I'm about. You know, and internationally also, class consciousness is higher. So my message, for example, when I was in Ireland playing, it was almost a riot at the end of the show, because we connected not just on the musical level, we connected on the political level. With the Irish, we connected as people that were colonized, we connected as people that understand that we're still fighting for freedom, and we connected as working class people, you know. So even in Mexico, you know, in countries like that where imperialism and they understand, not like we Africans that don't understand what our issues are. In countries where they see their enemies and understand it, my message is really, really welcome. And when I play in those places, it's almost like we're going from a show to a riot. You know, it's really amazing to see. Yeah. So.
Yeah. All right. So, talk me through your 2018 Grammy nomination.
2019, I think. It was announced in 2018, but the Grammy was for 2019. Just before COVID.
What does that do for you? You know, I mean, I know that it allegedly shoots up someone's career, but I'm just thinking, when you wake up in the morning, do you look at yourself in the mirror and say, oh, Grammy nominated?
Not at all. Nah, I'm 40, man. I'm too old for that. You know, and I'm too old to be chasing Western validation like that. What is interesting, though, is that the same year I got nominated for the Grammys, of the over 1,000 award ceremonies that were held in Africa, I wasn't nominated in one single category for one single award, even to lose, you know. So that for me took away any kind of, you know, excitement that the Grammy nomination could have given me, you know, and it also proved to me that I was deliberately being ignored by the influencers in African music because they side with the oppressor. Yes, Nigerian musical industry, Nigerian movie industry sides with the oppressor.
How?
In the message that they spread, in the way that they move, the people they perform for. You live in a country with 30,000 naira minimum wage, or you're selling tables at 10 million naira for your show. To whom? Who is going to buy those tables? You know, so definitely, even and in the movies, the story that they tell are not stories about liberation. They are not stories about let us understand our situation, how we can get out of it. You know, I mean, not that I'm a fan of Zelensky.
Yes.
But Zelensky's presidency was because of a film. He made a film about his country's corruption as a comedian fighting corruption, and then he stood for election, and based on the film, people voted for him. You understand?
Yes.
We don't have such movies here. Why? Because people that make films here are entrenched in the status quo. Their biggest sponsors are our biggest oppressors. You know, so they don't want to make movies that will liberate the Nigerian people. They want to tell Nigerian people that, in fact, I'll put it this way.
Yes.
The job of Nigerian movies is to make sure that Nigerian people have no solidarity.
Among themselves.
Yeah, so you watch a Nigerian film, you immediately begin to distrust your friends, your mother, your father, your colleagues, anybody around you is a potential enemy.
Yes.
If you are involved in if you are into Nigerian films, and that is why the elites love it. That's why they promote it, they invest so much money in it. Nigeria is the only country in the world where the elites of Nigeria invest and donate more to entertainment than they do to education. The endowment fund of Harvard University is $62 billion, more than Nigeria's budget, yearly budget for Harvard. Unilag has been looking for 1 billion naira. Last time was 2021, they were still announcing, I don't know if they've seen it now. For 2 years, they were looking for 1 billion. Dangote is donating billions to party here. Otedola is donating billions to party here. I didn't know they are donating money to all the celebrities, but our universities cannot even have good library. You understand? Because there's a message there. There's something there that is entrenching their power. You understand? Yeah. You know, so we have to understand that also. You know, let's not mistake this thing for just entertainment. It's not just entertainment.
So in the beginning, I was telling you about how I inadvertently listen to your podcast every day. My next door neighbor, and he plays it very loud, and I say,
I like him already. Keep it up, turn it even higher. You know, so people that don't want to hear will hear by force.
So I engaged him. I said, he always sounds angry when he's talking. You know, I said, you know, I would like to spend an hour with you. What will take away that anger?
I'm not angry. I'm passionate. And the issue of Nigeria also deserves for people to be angry. I mean, how can you be seeing what is happening here and you're not angry? I mean, there's something broken within you. I mean, anger is a human emotion, and we possess it for a reason.
Yes.
You know, I see people that are willing to be angry when somebody steps on their shoe, on their new Adidas, because for them, Adidas is more important than Nigeria. They are willing to beat anybody up. You step on my shoe, oh my God, buy new shoes. Ah! You know, so people get angry for what they like. So anger is everywhere. I just choose to be angry because of Nigeria's matter.
Before we go, I'm going to ask you again. Who are you supporting in 2020?
I can't really say. But if you ask me who the best candidate is,
yes,
I would say it is Showore.
Showore, that's
the AAC presidential candidate.
Okay, so for this election, there are 18 candidates, 18 parties that will be vying for that election. Why do you say he's the best candidate?
Track record. As I say, track record is everything.
What track record? He's never been in public office.
You know about public office, the track record of his own personal engagement in fighting for the freedoms of African people.
You think he's been consistent?
He's been consistent enough.
So, but you're not saying if that's who you're voting?
No. I mean, you're not even sure I'll vote for. I mean, if I was going to vote for Showore, why do I have MOP and I'm not in AAC?
Yes.
I mean, it means that we have some fundamental disagreements also, right? Because he's a good friend of mine.
What would you like to see, though, in, at the end of this election? In 2015, 2019, I didn't think the election nearing could be more vicious. But this one, I think the entry of a new party, the Labour Party, as one of the top 3. Now we have top 4 with NNPP. It's like this has been, as far as I'm concerned, the most vicious of all the campaigns. What do you hope to see at the end of this process?
But for me, as vicious as it is, there are no clear, maybe except, if I want to be completely honest, the only person that has made any statement that makes any kind of change to the status quo is Showore in some of his interviews. Because so far he's the only candidate that has said he will not go abroad for medical treatment.
And that resonates with you?
That resonates with me. Because that means you want to be treated here. That means you have to give us good health care that we can access.
Yes, because he wants good health care here as well.
Exactly. So those are the things that I want to hear from candidates. I want to hear the fact that education will be, all public officers' children will be in public schools.
In Nigeria?
In Nigeria, and that's how we are sure that we are giving us the best education, not George Weah style, where you are not, your child is playing for America, not for the Liberian national team, but you are the president.
Yes, but the child carries an American passport.
You are the president. You are not the president of one company.
No, but the child is an adult. Can he force his
child? The adult child of a president.
Yes.
He has put Liberia.
Yes.
He has put this as a national question. When he, as the president, went to watch the match, it becomes a national question. So who should play for Liberia?
Liberians. Anyone who carries a Liberian passport.
Who should play for Liberia? You know what I'm saying? If George Weah, as president of Liberia's children, are not Liberians, who should be a Liberian? Who? These are the questions that, and when people make these kind of excuses, I wonder if we don't love ourselves, if we don't respect ourselves. It's like the king saying to everybody, there's an evil in that forest. Every firstborn son must go in that forest to fight the evil.
Except mine.
Except my own firstborn son. I mean, come on. If we accept this kind of presidency or this kind of ideas ruling us, then we are not ready for the kind of progress that we demand, that we say we demand. Because this is an all hands on deck kind of thing. It's an all hands on deck. Everybody must be giving everything. The fact that Peter Obi, they said his family had investments in Panama, money laundering, whose money should they be taxing in Anambra State? Who should be paying the highest tax in that state if it's not the family of the governor? Why should they have their money in any kind of tax haven? Because people don't understand, when that tax is taken out of Nigeria, it limits the ability of the government to produce and to provide services for the people.
So that also brings me to the question, if you're keeping your money in Panama, why do you want to rule a country where you're not paying taxes?
If you are keeping your child in America, why do you want to be president of Liberia? That means you have no real interest in the people or the progress of Liberia. Just the status that position gives you to enrich yourself or improve your life in the way that you see that position can help you do it. You know, we need total commitment. People must prove total commitment to Africa, to Nigeria, to our society, to our community. This is the minimum we must demand.
Yes.
That whoever is representing us must have total commitment to us. And if that is too much to ask, then I'm sorry, you are not ready yet. If you feel that is too much to ask a candidate for total commitment, because this is the destiny of millions of people. Running a government is not the same as running a company. No one's talking about a profit, investment. They talk about Nigeria as if it's a company. This is not a company. We're not talking of profit and loss here. We're talking of life and death. You see, as big as Apple is today, it's $1 trillion company. If it closes down, people might commit suicide because of the money that they've lost. Don't get me wrong, but that closing down will not directly lead to the death of anybody. But when presidents fail, like they are failing right now in Nigeria, people are dying on the road. You see, that's what people tell me, that Nigerians are afraid. I said to people now, Nigerians are actually the bravest people that I know.
Why do you say we're brave?
We are very brave because, you know, it's just that we are not, what we want to die for is not beneficial to us. We die for daily bread. And daily bread cannot elevate you. It is not beneficial to your destiny, to your real existence. Daily bread is daily. Your life is long. You understand? So I'd rather die for that long struggle than for the daily bread that everybody is destroying themselves, their name, their reputation for. You go out of your house in Nigeria or in Lagos, for example, the chaos alone, container can fall on your head at any moment.
You're not sure of coming back.
Exactly, but people, does that mean that people will not go out? You can be driving on the road, driving, following all the rules like a good, and tanker will explode next to you and kill you and everybody in your car.
Minding your business.
You've not even said one word against the government. You're just going. You will die. You can be going, kidnapper will kidnap you. You will die. Police will shoot. You will die. Danfo driver will drive motor because he's drunk. No regulation for drink driving in this country. They've not curbed drink driving in Lagos. Lagos government has put camera for speed cam to start finding people for speeding or cutting red lights. They want to collect fine. But drink driving, please. You know, we obviously, you know, because we don't African lives are not, you know, not something that is important to anybody. You know, 10 Europeans will die, everybody will put France flag, EU flag on their profile.
I stand with France.
Stand here. And they'll tell you that 20 people died in Zamfara crickets.
Nobody.
One plane, Nigerian plane, mistakenly killed over 100 people at the displaced camp, the internally displaced people's camp.
IDPs.
Everything is business as usual. You understand? Because we've been programmed not to respect our own lives. So when the atrocity will lead to the death, you know, the loss of life of African people, we don't see it as something to make us stop. But trust me, if we are told, oh, good example, I mean, is during the NSAS, you know, as soon as one building is on fire, people start making noise. Oh, they are building, we have to fight these hoodlums. But these people are quiet when people are being killed. So what is the value of one African life? One building, 2 buildings, 1,000 buildings? We have to, as African people, decide what is the value of our life. You understand? Because to me, if one African is unjustly killed by the state and 10,000 buildings are burnt because of that, it's still not enough. Do you understand me?
Yes.
But to the powers that be in this country, it is 10,000 African lives for one block. One block. Just block. Not be building long. Build long. So we must understand that we are talking about life and death. not profit and loss. You know, life and death. Please, everybody, remember that when you make decisions about, when you are talking about presidents and things like that. President is not a CEO. It's a different ballgame.
Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure.
Kuti,
My
for
pleasure.
spending an hour with me today, and thank you for watching. I'm Angela Ajetunmobi.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect am. If you no talk, dem go beat you. Na 2,500 they pay.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on Plus TV Africa.
True Nigerians, Heroes of Our Time, a program where we celebrate Nigerians as a people and Nigeria as a country. It's uniquely different from every other TV program. Why? Because it's a celebration of Nigerians, both at home and in diaspora, who have achieved in their various fields. A celebration of patriotism, hard work, role models. It's all about Nigerians as a people and Nigeria as a country. My name is Zaki Adze. Join me every Thursday, 9 p.m. and a repeat broadcast every Sunday, 12:30 p.m. on this station to celebrate true Nigerians, heroes of our time.
There are signs Afghanistan is emerging from the darkness. Recovering from 30 years of war and repression, with a new democracy in place. But the country is still under siege from within. War with Taliban insurgents threatens the nation's security. Corruption reaches into the highest levels of government. Addiction rates rise among women and children. And a booming multi-billion-dollar illegal drug trade continues to thrive.
The amount of cultivation in Afghanistan is scary. It's actually terrifying. No other country in the world has ever produced that much narcotics.
At the center of Afghanistan's crisis, a hardy, drought-resistant crop that joins poor farmers with criminals and extremists, while pushing the nation toward the brink of disaster. Under cover of darkness, somewhere along Afghanistan's eastern border with Pakistan, a farmer delivers his opium poppy crop to a local trafficker. Here begins a worldwide illegal narcotics revenue stream, one generating $4 billion a year in Afghanistan. Prior to 2002, opium cultivation was legal and highly profitable for farmers, returning up to 10 times more money per acre than other crops. The source for heroin, poppy became Afghanistan's most lucrative export. And it still is today. Cultivation has been banned since 2002, yet poppy still grows in regions of the country where the central government has little control. The international community, led by the US and Great Britain, has invested hundreds of millions of dollars to combat Afghanistan's drug trade, mainly because money from opium helps fuel the Taliban insurgency. But when US-trained Afghan eradication teams plow up poppy plants, like here in Helmand province, it's not always the criminals who pay the price. The United Nations sees Helmand as the center of the poppy trade, supplying over half the opium in the world. But many farmers here see poppy as a means of survival, and eradication by their own government a harsh punishment. Afghanistan's poppy problem began in 1973 with the overthrow of King Zahir Shah, whose family had ruled the country for 2 centuries. A series of political upheavals followed, orchestrated by the Soviet Union.
First of all, you have to know that the Russians spent 200 years trying to get control of Afghanistan because they wanted Afghanistan as the route to the Indian subcontinent and the sea.
The dreams of empire led the Soviets to invade Afghanistan in December 1979 and begin a brutal 10-year occupation.
روسانو په افغانستان کې ډیر بد خاطرې موږ داونه لرو. افغانان په شهادت ورسول او ډیر افغانان مهاجر کړل د خپل ملک نه، ډیر افغانان معیوب کړل، ډیر افغانان وزورول ورته چې ژوندۍ د خاورو د لندې کړل. موږ داغه نه ډیر سخت او بد خاطرې لرو. ټول افغانان داغه نه بد خاطرې لري. د روس دراتګ نه او تر وته پورې د افغانستان خلک د روس نه ډیر بد خاطرې لري.
Throughout the 80s, Afghan fighters known as Soviet retreat.
منګه صرف خپل د علاقو نه د اسلام په نوم منګه خپل عقیدې په لحاظ باندې دا جنګ کړی دی منګه دوی سره کوم دغه نه لرو نو خو دا چې ما درته مخکې ویلي چې دوی زمونږ په اسلام باندې تعرض وکړه دا خو داسې تعرض نه و چې دوی یوازې په خاوره وکړو دوی خو زمونږ اسلام نه مانه دوی خو مونږ باندې هغه خپل سوسیالیستي چې دی که نه منل.
The Mujahideen resistance surprised the world. Soviet troops were forced out of Afghanistan in 1989, leaving a devastated land behind. They also left the country without a generation of leaders to move it forward.
Many of them were executed. They were simply thrown into prison, some were tortured to death. Others were driven into exile to save their lives, and they're gone. So a whole generation of experienced leadership has been lost.
Lost, too, was the country's stable rural economy. 10 years of war left farmland ravaged or abandoned. Irrigation systems, livestock herds, roads, and markets were destroyed. Meanwhile, with few alternatives, desperate farmers turned to opium poppy cultivation for survival.
Before the Soviet invasion, there was really no cultivation or consumption of opium in Afghanistan to any commercial extent. It is only at the beginning of the 80s that Afghanistan started to develop the cultivation and abuse of opium.
The victory over the Soviet Union morphed during the 90s into a civil war among competing Mujahideen factions, each vying for control of the country. Opium became a reliable income-generating crop, not only for farmers, but for the rival forces who needed money to fund their military operations. The Taliban's rise to power in 1996 did not slow opium cultivation.
When the Taliban first appeared in Afghanistan, based on their religion, they took a stand against opium. But as they extended their control into more areas where opium poppy was grown, they found that it was not possible to retain control of the territory while attacking people's livelihoods. So instead, they ruled that while it was forbidden for Muslims to consume opium or to sell it to Muslims, in case of necessity, it was permissible to grow it or trade in it as long as it was not consumed by Muslims.
The Taliban's permissive policy caused annual opium yields to double between 1997 and 2000. Its leaders even used a one-year ban against cultivation to boost worldwide prices on the illegal market.
The Taliban is often credited with wiping out the poppy crop for 2001. That's well reported. What has not been well reported is that Mullah Omar stockpiled 300 tons of opium paste before eliminating the crop. And he was one of the #1 dealers in opium the entire time that he was posing for holy pictures with UN officials talking about the eradication effort.
The US-led ouster of the Taliban in 2001 set the stage for a new democracy which outlawed opium. President Karzai made controlling